record here. There we go. So welcome everyone to the Unite Show. Thank you for tuning in. My name is Crystal. This is my partner Shine, and together we are Unite's co-founders. You are tuning into the Unite Show, which comes to you live every Thursday at 6:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time. And we have a different theme every week with different guests. Amazing guests. We have 3 guests this week, so that's really exciting. And our theme is cultivating your cosmic intuition, inner wisdom, and whole being healing. So that's a very juicy subject that we're going to be bringing you today. And we have 3 amazing speakers. We are recording this, and if you have to leave and you can't stay for the whole time, don't worry about it. We will be sharing the recording on our YouTube channel, and we are going to do Q&A. So we're going to get to dig in with our speakers, and then we're going to do a little Q&A. So we'll be able to answer all your lovely questions. So please either put your hand up with the little hand icon and we'll get to your questions, or just type them in the chat and we will get those answered for you. So without further ado, I'm going to let Shine introduce our wonderful guests for this week.
Well, the one guest that I know is not here yet, Kathleen, and Alan and Cinzia are brand new to me, so I'm super excited. I know very, very little, except for I watched your video, Alan, and pretty amazing. I'm super excited to jump in. And Cinzia, I know very little, so I'm super excited to connect. But Alan, why don't we start with you? Why don't you give us just kind of your 5-minute, intro story?
You want me to tell you about myself?
What are you up to? Yeah. Give us
oh my goodness. Well, let's see. I'm a healer and a psychic and an event producer, and I have mostly based in Miami and New York. I've been touring the East Coast for years. I have lived on the West Coast during this career as a healer, and I'm back now because I am pitching at least 6 really powerful, what we would call either reality or docuseries or documentary projects. And one is all about the healing tribes, and I've contextualized that as Urban Exorcist. That one's titled Urban Exorcist because the work I do goes very deep, and we could call it shamanic healing, but I also do entity detachment and soul retrieval and full-on exorcisms, and I'm not shy about talking about that, and I think that needs to be demystified or deboogabooged, for people, and be made really comfortable to look at. I think I go with that. Everybody's got the ability to do healing work, to be intuitive, to be psychics. I'm also an activator. I activate the healing abilities and the psychic abilities or artistic abilities, whatever needs activated. So the modality that I am developing is just coming direct to me from spirit. It's called Iouyzuy. Iouyzuy. And literally, this thing was coming through my body and my voice. I sing and speak in light languages. I'm not a musician. I can't read music. I don't play the sound healing instruments, although, I can. I can drum or play some bowls or things like that, but I'm not a sound healing musician. And yet I am the conductor in the events, the larger events that I've done in New York, Miami, San Francisco Bay Area when I was in California, because of the power of the frequency that's moving through me. And that is everything from the ascended masters, the plant spirits, the animals, everything, all the creatures can move through us to work with us to do healing or activation. Your ancestors, the elves, the gnomes, the fairies, and the crystals and the rocks and the elements. Literally everything, all of nature can flow through us or work with us to do, quote, just spiritual work. And so this is, but with me, I said, what is this? At one point, because I thought this is, my hands are making mudras and my body's doing this dance and all these languages. And they tapped my hand, literally tapped it out on the laptop. And I was going through a period where spirit was able to tap out words. And, and I looked at it and I thought, well, that does make words. There's one consonant in there and a bunch of vowels, but it does make words. And so that's what I've been developing for the last 10 years. And As a psychic, I love the fact that I only have a couple of Reiki certificates, and then like just I was off to the races. Something else started moving through me, and I also don't have pretty much any training to be a psychic. I maybe read Learning to Channel. I think that's one of the classic books for people, learning to channel. And but I always kind of drop whatever I've read because something just starts coming through. You're, directing you from and following the path, whether we call it the path of initiation or just the spiritual path, the nomadic path, because I've been nomadic on and off for, I swear, I'm 63 and I did not plan this, but if I say following the path and going to the festivals and the sacred places, everybody goes to Mount Shasta and goes to, doing the festivals like Burning Man and everything. That was, changing my life at the age of 50. You suddenly get younger again. You get this whole rejuvenation by following the path, and doing all of this stuff. So I'm going, I don't think I've hit 5 minutes yet, but I'm pretty close. So that's kind of how I've developed this ability. And then it got identified as this modality. And I'm here pitching it as one of my projects in LA. And I think that's all said enough for now.
I love it.
Thank you so much for having me on your show.
I'm so excited.
Thank you for joining
I
us.
can't wait to dive in more.
Yeah.
We have to connect you with our friend Kelly Mason, who's a film person in LA. We'll do it.
That's my Metatron. See, that's Metatron coming into my fist, and my arm just went boing.
Let's do it.
Thank you. Yes.
Yeah, of course.
Beautiful.
Cinzia, give us the juice, and feel free to do it in Italian, and we have to channel the translation.
No, but actually
kidding.
there is the Diane that she can translate for me because we were talking in Italian before.
I know, that's so cool.
So, okay. Hi, everyone. So my name is Cinzia. I'm currently located in Torino, in Italy. So here I'm in the middle of the night. It's 2:30 a.m. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited to finally meet you. So what I'm doing, all my life, I've been really passionate about astrology, and I'm studying any kind of different astrology, evolutive astrology, classic astrology, Egyptian astrology, and so on. And I realized that the specific branch of astrology that is called evolutive astrology is the one that really helped me 10 years ago to really find my spiritual path. And thanks to that, I later realized what was my really path to start helping people in their, like Alan was saying before, in their initiation. Because nowadays, a lot of people are really distracted by all the outside environment, and they don't really know, maybe intuitively, which is the discussion of today, with their intuition, they know what they should perceive and they should follow. But in reality, in the end, they just don't listen to their intuition. So I'm kind of guiding them back to their path through this evolutive astrology. Evolutive astrology, if people are not familiar with that, is a branch of astrology that are studying basically the lunar nodes. And the lunar nodes are like two mathematical points in the sky where the moon and the sun cross the path. And you have two nodal nodes, the south node and the north node. They say that the south node is kind of all your past lives and all are like all the subjects that you are really familiar with. And when you are in your south node, usually in the, they say between till 40 years old, you are living with the major subject of your south node. And then you normally transition towards your spiritual path. And so you follow your north node, which is your destiny, your fate, your mission, like to say that. So yeah, I'm basically doing that, and I'm also guiding people to their emotion, and I'm doing that through several disciplines like
medicine. This is for Amanda.
Sorry about
okay, there was speaking. Okay.
Continue.
That
So
was the
I'm
people
doing-
being excited to hear what you had to
yeah.
say.
So I'm using also, because my original background was biomedical engineer, I'm really using different emotional techniques like metamedicine and other frequency tools to help people raise their frequency. So I hope that in 3 minutes I managed to explain what I'm doing.
I love it.
Beautiful.
What's
Thank you.
what's the modality of astrology that you sort of settled on? I missed the name of it.
It's called evolutive astrology or soul astrology. At least in
Nice.
Europe, it's called like that. Yeah.
And does it follow the Western with like the
Yeah, it's a Western astrology. Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Right.
Beautiful. Well, this will be fun because Kathleen is an expert in Vedic astrology.
Yes.
Are you here, Kathleen?
Kathleen is our,
Yes, there she is.
we're so blessed today to have 3 amazing guests. So Kathleen is our 3rd guest, and she's going to do her little intro here. And then while we're learning about Kathleen, keep in mind any questions that you would love to ask these wonderful people, because we're going to have Q&A afterward, where we're going to get to dig in and ask them about basically whatever you're curious about. So Kathleen, welcome. And if you wouldn't mind just sharing a little bit about what you do and why you love doing it.
Oh, thank you so much for having me.
Yay.
I love the resonance every time you guys have these shows, like who I'm on with, like you just, the synchronicity is amazing, right? Our connections and our paths.
Yeah.
And so I love the topic we've chosen to talk about developing intuition, but also the thread that I'm hearing that I'll link with my own path is that, you know, I'm a Vedic astrologer right now. I'll mention a little bit about that, but in my path, I literally very early on was so connected with nature, spent so much time in nature as a child, that even when I went into Chinese medicine, went to medical school, got a degree in biochemistry, and had all of this science basis, I always felt that everything I was doing was connected with nature. Even in biochemistry, I'm a little older, so like we just had the beginning of computers when we were in science, when I was in my beginning of my biochemistry degree. And in the very beginning, I remember seeing a molecule, and it was a very big deal to be able to see a molecule model move. And the first one that I saw literally looked like a tree blowing in the wind to me. And so everything within us, you know, we are the microcosm, we are the macrocosm. So this was the beginning of my path that just continued to follow through. So I did Chinese medicine, practiced acupuncture, herbal medicine, and then came to Vedic astrology. And I touched some Western astrology, but when I came to Vedic astrology, it was at this time in my life that I was able to weave it into my Chinese medicine practice and weave Ayurveda with it. So I have the luck of always stumbling upon my path and always following my path. And so I wove these together. And then because I was working with so many independent entrepreneurs, I created conscious calendars because I was ending up helping so many solopreneurs know maybe when to launch or have a wedding or have an event. And that energy, it's a solar lunar calendar that's simply about like, when is the energy more full between us to have celebrations and connections and collaborations and love. And so that's the basis of the calendar. So that's really been my path, that I was just so blessed to do Chinese medicine, weave Vedic astrology into it. And then through my own chart, I saw that I was probably going to make myself sick if I continued just doing the one thing, that I then went more and more and more vibrational. So I just feel so blessed that then one of my jams is I love to help people with their careers and sort of major transitions in life. So, and guide them sometimes with timing, but, you know, I just love that all of us have this, like, you know, connection with this combination of, you know, natural forces. And I would say that the way that I often help people is sometimes with mantra, sometimes with gemstones, but it's all related to the elements, connecting us with the elements that we are, that we concretized into our being, and that we are evolving vibrationally, to feel oneness. That's really our path. We are all one, and it's just remembering.
Aw, I love that.
I love it. You guys are also awesome.
Thank you. I was just remembering when I was making some little posts, Kathleen has offered our community, everyone who's tuning in on Unite, a wonderful special gift discount on the next, I think it's the next 3 months of conscious calendars, and the code is love. So I love the way she wrote it, and I tried to copy it when I posted. You can find it on the event page, but she said use love and you'll get a discount. I just thought, oh, that's so perfect. I absolutely love that. So Kathleen, when you have a moment, if you would pop that in the chat and everyone can take a look. And I was just remembering earlier today that I knew about Kathleen and conscious calendars long before I met Shine. Actually, my kid's dad and I used to follow conscious calendars for years, and I don't even know, like 15 years ago, maybe. I don't know how long you've been doing it, but a long time. And I used to just find it really supportive. It was in a time when I was less open to the spiritual stuff. I had kind of done a little rebellion and I was needing more grounding. So it's kind of like, anything spiritual is too much for me. But I loved the way Kathleen approached it, really matter of fact. And it's like, she had it broken down into lovely sections, like, for business, here's some, what's going on, relationships, here's what's going on. And it was just so like matter of fact, and just like chances are on these days, things are going to be a little hot. So don't make any decisions. Don't, if you're feeling edgy with someone in your family, maybe wait and don't call them today. And I was just like, oh, that's really, and what I would often do is I would forget to read it like first when it was sent out every month. But then I would have like a really rough day and I would like, what's Kathleen say about today? And I'd look it up and I'd be like, oh, thank you. Well, if I had read this sooner, I would know, but it just felt so supportive for me to be like, I'm not crazy. It's not just me, like everything's going on right now. And it was just, it's very soothing. So I don't know if I told you that the last time we had you on the show, like 3 years ago, but I wanted to say again, like, thank you for the work you do. It's really tangible, really grounded, really deep, but also really easy to digest. So I appreciate the way you have honed your craft. So yeah.
I find that conscious calendars for me is like a weather report.
Yes.
It's like, here's the energy of the stock of the cosmos, and there might be like, you might have easier access to get into like a high flow state on these days. Not to say that you can't do it on other days, but it just might be a little heavier just based on what's happening. And that's it. It's just like, it's sort of like a weather report. It's just, and it's like, if it's raining outside, maybe don't go for a long walk.
Or bring an umbrella.
Bring an umbrella. It's just like information. So I really appreciate it for that. It feels really great.
Yeah. So everyone feel free, especially our guest speakers, our 3 guests, but also actually anybody on here who has links for anything that they want to share or want to contribute to the community, please feel free to pop them in the chat. And anywhere on Unite, you're always welcome. That's part of what Shine and I love doing here, is really helping cross-pollinate, connecting everyone. Like Kathleen said, like there's always a wonderful dynamic when we get together here and create the space. So, anything that you get inspired to share, please do pop it in the chat. And we will have time for Q&A, of course, where we can dig in and ask some of our deeper questions. And one of the things I like to keep in mind on the Unite show is, I love what Abraham Hicks says, let's take this conversation further than it's ever been before. Let's not just regurgitate what we're used to saying, but really tune into the collective energy that we've got going on right now, because it's unique. We've never all been on this call at the same time in any dimension. I believe we're doing this for the first time. And in this configuration, so we're in a unique space right now. So let's be really kind of, thoughtful about what can we contribute and co-create here that is new and exciting and amazing. So when you're asking your questions, and just keep that in mind. And Abraham says, if you have a question and forget it, don't worry about it, because it's actually, you've already evolved beyond that. So wait for the next one and then pop in. So what were you going to say, Shai?
On that note, I was thinking a fun thing to do would be to ask each of our speakers, what's the sort of, if you had like, 5 to 10 minutes to give a message to humanity, like what's the most important essence of all of your years of work that feels ripe and valuable at this time? And if Alan, if you're ready to go.
But not 5 to 10 minutes, because then we're not going to have time for questions. So let's do like boil down to like a few minutes of like your message for humanity. That would be amazing.
We can go longer. But yeah, let it flow.
Concise.
Let it
And
flow
let it
and
flow.
be concise. Yeah.
Awesome.
You have to unmute to Alan.
Yeah, we can to
Unmute.
there you
Got
are.
me?
Yeah, we
You
can
hear
hear
me?
you now. Yes.
Okay, cool. All right, I'm not going to speak as if I'm actually speaking to the world, but I'm going to tell you and everybody who's listening where I've gotten with this healing career, because I had all these prophecies that I would heal the masses and that I could heal all forms of cancer, and it was always about, and I kept thinking, really, it's very intimidating, it's very and I literally, like, you will stand in stadiums of people. And at first you think, wow, just me standing there and like 50,000 people. And then you start thinking, come on, it can't be just that. That's too much. And then and I started working with ensembles. I didn't even know what sound healing was when I, started appearing at festivals. And then people just start coming in and joining me. And then I started getting these visions of doing massive healing events with a lot of healers, a lot of musicians, a lot of dancers, a lot of every kind of healing modality, just this massive heal-a-thon. And I think what it is that we need to create, people got to get that, like, we can all access our abilities as healers, healers and intuitives. We will probably have more miracles the more we gather together in larger groups. And then it is not my miracle or yours, or it's everybody's, and it's just happening. And how I got to this is that I didn't say earlier, but I have had success with 4 different kinds of cancer and about 20 or 30 other major illnesses. And I'm documenting all of this, but I got to say, once you start saying you've had success with anything, people start coming at you with all sorts of stuff. And guess what else I've had? A lot of failure. And it really is in higher hands. We really are, we must walk our path and be the best tools we can be for spirit, and be virtuous and clean and pure and all of that. But it really is in higher hands. And I have watched the patterns of, quote, them giving me miracles, like in a string. Like on one particular East Coast tour, I had 6 major miracles in less than 2 months, and then nothing for like a couple of years. It's like, crawl, try some more, and then in that void, you start going, well, then it's not about me. And if I'm not having all the success that they keep telling me that I was going to have, then what does it take? And I know all these brilliant healers who also have a success or 2 or 10, but not where we have been told we're supposed to be. And, we're just this is my message, is that we will gather together in, I want to say, huge crowds and have massive amounts of miracle. And it won't even be miracles anymore. It'll just be, we'll do it. So that's it. That's my big message.
Love it. That's so exciting. We also see big stadiums of people and doing tours with both conscious celebrities and healers and artists, and just bringing the world together, eventually having billions and billions of people all unified in stadiums and festivals at the same time and host First Contact.
We'll talk more about all that. I'm with you.
Let's talk right now. Yeah, I love it. So I want to know a little bit about your alien experiences, because you talked about that. Like,
Do you want to get the answer to this
Yes.
this question? Because
Thank
I'm, if you want to go there, we'll go there.
Yes.
Maybe a little bit later.
I do want to go there. I exactly. Thank you for being such a wonderful co-creator here. I would love to hear the answer to Shine's question from our other two amazing guests. And then we stay tuned, everyone, because apparently we're going to aliens. So don't go anywhere.
One of my favorite topics.
Ladies, which one would like to jump in next?
I can go. So my message for humanity is quite simple. I would like to say that to everyone, just be yourself, be your unique self, because everyone really is unique. From astrology, everyone has a really different birth chart. For example, I have also a twin sister, but she is completely different than me, so she chose another path. So really be yourself, because every one of us has different gifts, and we need to, especially in this period of time, we really need to activate this gift in order to unite all together and elevate the vibration of this planet. That's it. Really easy and simple.
Wow.
Ah, beautiful.
I love it. I love your accent too. And I love that you kind of have like a pizza oven behind you, but
yeah,
I know probably not that one.
Actually, my best friend to kept me awake before we were making pizza. So
is it really a pizza oven?
Yeah.
That's
yes.
Oh, I'm so excited. That's fantastic.
It's such a like classically nostalgic Italian looking backgrounds that we see. Like it looks like you've got your green screen up and you're like, yes, I'm in Italy, really.
Yeah, I was doubting. I said, shall I sit on the couch or in the kitchen? And then I said, okay, let's stay in the kitchen.
It's beautiful. It feels, we can really feel the Italian vibe coming through.
And when you work with people, do you usually do one-on-one readings? Do you have online courses? What's the kind of like scope of your work?
Mm-hmm. My scope of your work is really guiding people through their transition and trying to guide them to understand their path, their mission, their purpose. Because a lot of time I see people that are really confused about what they need to do in their lives. Mm-hmm. And all the time they come to me and they're asking me, please tell me what I need to do. And I say, I cannot tell you what you need to do because it's your life. So you need to find the answer are within you. So I'm guiding people to find the answer within themselves. And of course, I can give them some specific subjects that are coming from this evolutive astrology. But how they experience later on the transition and evolution is coming from within them. And so I'm not saying what they need to do, but I'm guiding them to the transformation.
Beautiful. Thank you for doing that work.
I've been I think Bashar Abraham, one of those, was talking about tarot cards and different and runes and different things that people use, and that they're really just focal points for the person who's giving the reading to sort of it helps to have a focal point that they can then receive guidance on what to say. And I wonder if astrology is similar, where it's like there's themes and then they can focus you and then you can sort of tune in and actually give a download of from your higher self for them. But that's sort of a tool like tarot cards or runes or whatever.
Exactly. With astrology, like for the tarot, you are see the potential, but of course, if the person doesn't take any action, the potential will remain potential. So it's the same concept as the tarot cards.
Yeah. I love it. Thank you for thank you for sharing it. Thank you for being here. It's so nice to have you.
Yeah.
Yeah, such a beautiful energy. I can't wait to come visit and hang out.
We can do the next show. We can do from Italy.
Exactly. Yeah. We'll do on location.
And we'll connect you with our friend Jessie Andrews. Shout out to Jessie. ItalyVacationSpecialists.com.
Yeah.
She is amazing, and she hosts all these retreats, and she's been wanting to do more wellness stuff in Italy. And she's got a big list of amazing people looking for experiences and wants to collaborate. So we'll make some connections. She's lovely.
Yeah.
Right.
Kathleen, give us the juice.
Yeah. Can you put the is it Italy Vacation Specialist in chat? so I get the right URL. Thank you. Thank you. I love the idea. Let's gather around the world.
Right?
Day.
Yeah.
Let's try all these gatherings.
And she's really done a lovely job. Like her retreats are very much like, you know, like if you found, you know, the person who knows like the best little cafe and the best little bakery, like it's not the like big kind of touristy ones, although she can take you if you want, but it's really kind of like, where are the energy centers and where do the locals go, and creating those kind of things. And yeah, we were talking about doing like a whole retreat with like a sacred conscious ball at the end, like masquerade ball, like, oh, so fun.
Yeah.
One day. Oh, here we go. Are you doing a screen share? No.
I'll just
Sean's
show.
just going to do a quick screen share
I'll
of
just show
her
you quickly,
site before we get into Kathleen,
fine.
just so we can, since we're in the Italian juice.
Yeah. Oh, let's go.
Here we go. Oh, can everyone see the screen?
Yes.
Yeah.
Perfect. Yeah.
So yeah, this is one of her. She's got all these different ones, but she's a super sweetheart, and we'll just connect you with her directly. She's lovely soul.
Woohoo.
So that's it.
All right, Kathleen, our darling, what is your message for humanity, or at least our Unite humanity, but possibly for all of humanity?
You know, one of my most favorite things to talk about, and is my dream to literally be like, this is my main message, is what I was mentioning before. You know, we are, all of us, right, can develop our own intuition. We're all connected with our natural rhythm, our own answers in our own way. And because we are actually a microcosm of the macrocosm of the universe, of the solar system, of the energies that are greater than us, are actually embedded within us. We are this reflection. So we have the solar system within us. And one of the ways this is reflected is that the sun and the moon literally are reflected in our body. This is something called Swara Yoga. It's reflected in our body, and our Kundalini energy opens at sunrise and sunset every single day. And every 1.5 to 2 hours, depending on your personal circadian rhythm, our Sushumna, or both nostrils, open, and our Kundalini opens naturally. And so at sunrise, sunset, and then every 1.5 to 2 hours are these natural openings. And these are actually small little awakenings. And we are actually meant to maybe not be working out at that time, but actually allowing the coursing of energy to flow through us. And it's just this gentle opening. And the rest of the time, we either have our left nostril open or our right nostril open for the most part, and that we can, in any single moment, act in complete alignment with where we are biologically, spiritually, energetically, according to which nostril is open. There's all these things to maybe do when it's left and when it's right. But one of the things that is the simplest is that whatever nostril is open when you wake up, when you are moving from the house, out of the house, when you're getting out of the car, or if you've been in transit, when you're moving from a location, moving back home, that first thing when you go to get up, you simply step with the same foot as the nostril that is open. So all of us right now, just do a little, breathe a little more. If you need to, you can touch the side. See which one has a little more air going through it. The side that's a little cooler, that will be the side that's open. And if you were to get up and move, you would simply step with that foot, and you are a complete resonance. So there's always a way that you can always tap back in what is happening. And
Wow.
you can
Very cool.
always be in resonance. And when we do that, if we bumped into a block, then, I'm going to just, I don't know.
There we go. We'll get that person muted. Thank you, love.
And so, like, say you've, one of the classic examples is you're trying to make a phone call and you're not getting the information, or you're looking for something, or you can't find something in the house. That exact moment, if you stop, pause, check, and step in resonance and wait until, like if you're doing an outward worldly thing, like calling something, you wait until the right side's open, boom, you get the answer, you get the right person, all of that. If it's about healing and resting, wait until the left is open. And then you'll actually have more rest. Like if you're tired, you could actually open the left a little bit and then close your eyes for 5 minutes. You would actually get more rest. So
That's so
it's an
cool.
entire lifetime yogic practice, but this is like, to me, is like, let's give people the big stuff, right?
So good.
Wow.
You're so in tune. I was actually that was going to be my next question for everyone, was we have a lot of amazing entrepreneurs, amazing light bringers, amazing people stepping into their gifts on Unite and on our platforms. And those are the people we're supporting everyone, but we love juicing up the people who are juicing up the people. That's the most fun for us. And so we're always looking for, of course, taking your courses and doing your sessions is amazing. And we're always loving if we can get those little tips and tricks and tiny little keys that I don't have time to do a week-long retreat right now, but I definitely have time to see which nostril I'm breathing out of and step with that foot. Geez, that's amazing. Oh, I absolutely love that. I love how just concise and clear. And can you reiterate left and right? You said, yeah, thank you.
Yeah. So
Right for
left
outward,
is
left for
lunar.
right.
Left is lunar. So
Got it.
that's going to be more nourishing and healing. Yeah. So
yeah.
that will be more rest, more connecting with our divine feminine, and meditation, slowing down, connecting with our inner self and our intuition. The right is active and worldly. So it has to do with connecting with the world. So it would be, you know, the phone call, trying to get the information you need, and also being out in the world. So you could actually, like for an event like this, like right now, my left is open because I'm transmitting information, right? But if I were guiding Qigong or yoga, I might shift my energy to the right nostril so that I'm carrying more a solar fire energy to teach. If it's like a large group of people, I would want to be maybe a little more solar, unless I just want to dial in and let divine flow through me.
Beautiful.
My right nostril's open, so I'll see you guys later. I got shit to do.
No, it's because it's like helping hold that energy for us.
I know. I love it. This is fun. I've literally never thought about this ever in my life. So that's fun.
So thank you for taking our consciousness further than
brand new.
it has ever gone before, because that is super fun. And I feel like that is Kathleen's, maybe I will interpret Kathleen's message for humanity and for all our community and for healers, is we so appreciate and love how deep you all dive into your work, how much you nerd out and love what you do. And anytime that you're able to disseminate and get these little tiny little pieces that maybe seem tiny to you on the scope of what you do and how broad everything is, that the knowledge that you have, but those tiny little pieces are such huge gifts to us, and you don't know who they're going to be a gateway or an opening for. So please, anytime you have those and want to share them, our community absolutely adores them, because we're all really open to this kind of thing. And anything that can kind of, like I said, juice up the people, juicing up the people is just a pleasure for us to share. So anytime you've made a tiny little recording about that, you've made a little post, please reach out and share it with us. And we'd love to
clip this too.
Yeah, we'll clip this for sure and make sure we share it with everyone. But it really is just such a joy for us, and really why we've built Unite and built the platform we've created. So thank you.
We've got a feature planned called the Wisdom Pool, and it's going to be like a searchable directory of different videos and articles and whatever type of content you want, and people can like vote it up, and it can have different tags. So it's like, if you're interested in Vedic astrology and left not right nostril breathing and like you could sort of search through tags, and also search like what's most popular in Vedic astrology in the Wisdom Pool, and then sort of see what people are interested in talking about. So anyways, that's in the future.
Yeah.
Okay. Alan, give it to us. What are we talking about with aliens? I want to know.
Okay. All right.
I love Bashar. I love Matthias De Stefano. I'm super interested in all these like things that are happening. The world is talking about UFOs, and like it's kind of getting more mainstream attention. Give us the shtick.
Okay. My dad, Bob Pratt, was a really well-known UFO researcher. He died in 2005. I was not particularly interested in my father's work. He wrote a couple of books, I read them. He talked about UFOs and sightings all the time, and it got really boring because they all sounded the same. The lights in the sky. Oh, I mean, it was fascinating. He was an expert on primarily sightings in Brazil. What my father was known for was being a real journalist and amassing a lot of documentation and files so that it wasn't a few sightings, but hundreds of sightings in the same parts of the the countryside of Brazil, where the peasants didn't even have television, radio, telephones, no way to communicate these stories from village to village, and they were telling the same stories.
Wow.
So that's how my father would prove that this stuff was real.
Wow.
And so he died in 2005. And in 2006, my mother and I flew to Denver, and we sat at the head table at the MUFON conference, the Mutual UFO Network. And because my father received the big award of the evening, and I swear I was at the table with people like George Tsoukalos with the crazy hair from Ancient Aliens,
that guy.
and a lot of other big names in the UFO community. And it's so crazy, the timing of the plot line of my life, because I wasn't having my own experiences at that time. I was just some guy representing my father. And then a couple of years later, it boom, 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 all started happening. I started channeling in 2009. I had my first cancer miracle. And
When you say that, you're healing someone from cancer, right? Not your own cancer.
yes, yes. Although I must say 10 years ago, I had prostate cancer and used no form of Western medical treatment of any kind. And it took about 2 years, pulled it right through my own flesh, through my scrotum, and pull it out of your own body. It took a couple of years, but dang, I'd done it. But so I had my first cancer success in 2009, and then started following the path, as I said earlier, and living out of my car. And I'm not going to go into the details of how Spirit puts me in situations without telling me what they're putting me into, because otherwise I would not go. I'm a fool, and tarot readers have drawn cards for me and drawn the fool repeatedly. One reader did it twice in a row to prove. He was like, "This is a good thing. This is in your best interest. You need to be a fool so that you get where they want you to get. You'll be okay." And so what I got guided to a Central American country, to a place that looked like a retreat center. And you notice I'm not giving any names of anything here because I'm not going fully public with all of this yet. But the retreat center was a cover for an international drug cartel. And I figured that out pretty quickly, and realized my life was in danger because they had figured out that I had figured them out, and got out of all of that. And then realized that people who I had met there, who were Middle Eastern and from Canada, I'll just leave it at that, and who had been, that their family had been involved in 911. And I lived in Manhattan when that happened. And I moved to Ground Zero 5 months later, right over where the World Trade Center had been. So I realized that another like 911 was going to happen, except it was going to be a nuclear device. And I followed my guidance. I followed the what I call spirit, but this is all leading to UFO stuff in a moment. I went to New York, and I worked with psychics on everything that I've done. I've always worked with psychics, figuring out where to go and what to do and how to solve crimes and things like that, and stop terrorist attacks and uncover drug cartels. All of this, I had no intention of this being my life. I thought,
Alan, don't forget you invited the Men in Black to my apartment, remember?
What? Oh my God, you're all, oh, this is crazy. Greg, this is a man who I have not spoken to in how many years? He's watching this. Greg is whose apartment I was in when the Men in Black came after me. After I stopped these terrorist attacks, I followed this path going all the way to North Carolina to work with the Rhine Research Center, because they were famous for psychic studies in the 70s. And I worked with them and they said, don't stop. You've got the missing pearl, talk to everybody, talk to the CIA, FBI, the New York City police, tell everybody you're telling everybody because nobody can be trusted. And they said, do you have any idea how many people came into the Rhine Research Center? And I'm sitting there and they said, before 9/11, and told us it was going to happen and the government would not listen to us. So you sitting here and telling us they're not going to listen to us, you have to go stop it. Literally, like, so, I'm going, okay, get my little rental car, drive back to New York, where I stayed at Greg's, who's in this group this evening. And then
on. So you're saying that there's a place where psychics went before 9/11 and a bunch of them told people that the 9/11 was going to happen?
The Rhine, RHINE Research Center in Durham, North Carolina, was previously associated with Duke University. And there were articles in Life magazine in the 1970s about their psychic studies. And somehow I remembered this when I was in the middle of all of this. I mean, I literally flew to Canada worked with the Royal Canadian Mounted Police. Then I drove to I rented a car for a month, drove to New York to feel it out, what was going to happen, and then gave the information to the FBI. And then nothing happened on December 7th of 2010. That's when it was going to be. Pearl Harbor Day was when they were going to do it. And there's all these references through history about that, and our astrologers would confirm why a culture would pick a particular date for a terrorist attack. And then I did my part to avert that one. And I knew that they hadn't gotten the nuclear device and that it was being retooled for Christmas Eve of 2010 for the Capitol in Washington, D.C. So I was able, just like earlier when I said EO, ooey, zooey, my fingers tapped it out on a laptop. At that time, my finger could point to maps on a laptop screen, and I found where the terrorists were holding with the nuclear device on a non-functioning farm outside the Capitol in Maryland, about 45 minutes out. And I rented a car, and this was after going all the way to North Carolina, driving all the way back, stopping the attack in New York. And then I'm like, and rent a car, drove to Maryland and found them on this farm, 2 van loads of Middle Eastern guys and I knew what was in the barn. Called the FBI on December 21st of 2010, gave them all the information. Nothing happened on Christmas Eve. Our Capitol did not blow up.
Did they catch them?
I, at that time, was apartment sitting for Greg Frio, who's on this group tonight. How crazy is this?
Did they catch them? I don't even understand what you're saying right now. This is crazy.
Well, here's what I'm saying is here's where the proof comes in, is that on Christmas Day,
I rented a car.
Are you with me?
There's terrorists with the nuke. I better get up there right away. That'd be the last thing on my mind. You're awesome. Okay, please continue. I'm so sorry.
Okay. All of this, I'm going to say now, not only am I working with psychics during this, what I was not aware of, and you're about to understand why, I didn't understand that I already have implants in my body and that I'd already been up and have no memory of it. And this is the thing, my father had a lot of people placed under hypnosis to relive their UFO experiences, their abductions that they had no memories of. And when I was a teenager, I listened to a couple of these, whatever they had, cassette tapes at the time, and I was like, this is scary stuff. I don't want to hear it, and I listened to 1 or 2, and, people reliving UFO abductions can sound kind of scary. And so I did not realize, as I was working with government like CIA, FBI, and the reason I'm going to say that this is totally real is my spirit guides told me not to contact the FBI, but to contact the CIA. And I literally drove to Washington thinking I would quote, go to the CIA, which you don't do. I got to the big gates, giant wall, and I thought, oh, you can't go in here. And I called to them and they talked to me for an hour.
Wow.
They wanted to know everything. And then the FBI called me the next day and said, what do you know? This is how real all this is.
Did they find the guys and the bomb?
Now here's where we go with this.
Okay.
The FBI stopped. Here's where this all goes is I got a call on Christmas Day at 4:00 in the afternoon from a 555 number. And I'm old enough to know that in the old days, you could not, 555 is what they use in television and movies.
Yeah,
Because you can't call it. It's some government thing.
Yeah.
And I thought I saw it now. So I answered it and they're like, Mr. Pratt, are you the person that reported blah, blah, blah? And I was like, yes, I am. And they said, they identified themselves as the FBI and said, we want to see you immediately. And they knew exactly, they knew I was at Greg's apartment. They knew, hi, Greg. They knew I was in, they said, like, where are you? Come on, like, they don't know where you are when they call you on a cell phone. Come on. I said, I'm in Chelsea in Manhattan. They said, we're in New York too. And this, in an 18-inch blizzard, 3 badge carrying agents show up at Greg's apartment in Chelsea on the day after Christmas. And I'm sitting down with them, and about 30, they're not asking anything about the attack that I averted. They wanted to know, how are you doing what you're doing?
Wow.
And then they went like this: how many of them are there? How do you call them in?
But
Wow.
And
they're talking about the terrorist attacks.
Them
Talk about the alien.
But
call in the alien. And then one of them said,
they came because of the terrorists.
No.
This is different.
no, listen,
Sorry.
they said, Mr. Pratt, they said, have you seen Men in Black? And I said, but parts of it. And the guy said, we get a kick out of that film because it's basically who we are. We are an unknown division of the government that works with people like you that work with aliens.
What?
Wow.
So now all of this is, as I sent this to you in an email, and I had no expectation that you would have time to listen to this, but what I sent you, you can listen to later. And I'm telling everybody this, I'm going public now, and I've been trying for a long time, and I have been stopped by the forces that will stop you. I have had content removed from my drafts file on YouTube. I was scheduled for an interview with Alfred Lambremont Weber because I saw him on Ancient Aliens and emailed him, as I have emailed 20 of the top people in the UFO, ET disclosure field, everybody from Corey Good, Stephen Greer, the Wonder Boys or whoever they are in Brooklyn, the Edge of Wonder. I could go on and on. I put my father's name in them. Almost nobody would even respond to emails because of the level of what I am dealing with. Alfred Lambremont Weber said, I will interview you on my YouTube channel. I said, great. He was shut down by YouTube the morning of the interview for 3 months. He was slapped down.
Wow.
This is where this is going now. So anyway,
we got through.
But it's all popping now. I mean, right now, nobody's stopping me now. I'm doing this series. I was living in Boulder for 3 months before getting to California. And so Matty Bovard, this brilliant guy with a radio station in Boulder, he did an interview with me on August 8th, the Lions Gate. And after the interview, he said, Alan, I want to help you tell your whole story. And I said, Matty, you realize other folks are stopping me. And he said, I mean, he said, yes, he said something crude. He said, let's do it. And it hasn't stopped since then. Nobody seems to be trying to stop me. And I think it's at this level that I'm able to speak truth, is with powerful light workers who aren't in the mainstream media, just, the bigger levels just yet. I've already had one of my proposals about the Illuminati. I had Netflix producers super interested because I am from Palm Beach County, Florida, my friends. And I will stop there on that one. But I had Netflix producers drive to where I was living in Hollywood, Florida to meet me to talk about doing Secret Society of Palm Beach. And then they backed off. This is because of the reality, not because I'm not telling the truth, but because I am telling the truth. So those guys that day who identified themselves as the Men in Black, what did they said, we're these guys. And then after they finished interviewing me, I said, I get and this answers your question about were the guys caught. I said, they started to get up, and I said, I get a feeling you guys are gonna not tell me how effective my information was and what happened. And they just looked at me and nodded and said, nope. And then at the third one, as they were going out the door, turned to me. I swear this is like right out of a TV show. He turned to me and he said, Mr. Pratt, do you know the phrase, don't call us, we'll call you? And I said timidly, yes. And he said, don't call us. And that was December of 2010. I've used my ability, so I could tell you a lot more about all of this. But so here's, I'm gonna jump forward because you asked. I'm just gonna give you the bottom line on a few more experiences.
Please.
It's all in these recordings that I'm doing, and I will. And as I say at the beginning of these recordings, I have been sober for 17 years. I am known for being a guy of integrity all my life, like president of the student council, boy of the year for Palm Beach County, the voice of democracy. I was a Mr. Good Boy, so, and here's the other thing is I will take a lie detector test of any kind about any of this that I've experienced. And I will also, my plan with the recordings is to get people to get producers to do this on with an audience and with a team of psychics, either on camera or with me on stage, to confirm and clarify the story that I'm telling about what I've experienced. Because it's not that Alan needs to tell an exciting story. This is disclosure. This is the awakening. This is the ascension processes, and this is part of my contribution to this. So in 2011, I returned to this place in Central America, and on the way in the capital city, I was choked and beaten to death by 3 20-somethings, a street gang. It was a gang initiation, kill a man with your bare hands. That's why there was no knife or no gun. And I was resurrected by a 9-foot-tall blue avian in front of the people who killed me.
What?
And if you're not familiar with this, and I was not at the time when I first, and I did not see any of this, the best psychic that worked with me on the terrorist attacks, and I name all these people in all of my documentation, she told me every detail when I returned from the Central American country and visited her in Florida. She literally boom, 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 9-foot-tall blue avian. This is a nice little lady, like in one of those little strip malls in the Crystal Shop, Anne, and she told me all the details, and I'm sitting there like, what, and then the blue avian said, back the F up, and like, and while he resuscitated you, and she said, oh, the 9-foot-tall blue avian, it's you. It's what you're going to become, but you're not ready. And so that's the higher version of you that stepped in to save your life. And then I did Bhakti Fest in Joshua Tree the same year, and that's Florida. Now I'm in California. And the best psychic at that festival told me all the same details, my friends.
Wow.
So this is how and about a half dozen people in following years saw the blue avian, like as a shadow figure standing behind me, who had not heard the story in either healing events or private sessions. People say, hey, who's the big blue guy behind you?
Wow.
Like that.
What did the guys who beat you up feel about the blue avian? What did the guys who beat you up, what was their reaction? Did you have any consciousness of?
Oh, I tell all of these details because this is like right out of right out of a sci-fi film.
Yeah.
Is that my memory is, I mean, literally, I was choked and being beaten to death. My head hit the pavement. I was bleeding. I took my last breath. I knew when I was dying. And the next thing that I remembered is I'm standing, dripping blood, and the 3 of them are lined up 10 feet away, and I mean right in front of me, side by side, arms by their sides, all 3 of them with their jaws dropped because of what they saw. And I didn't get it. I felt for my wallet. I looked at them and I thought, I have to go. And I turned around and limped away because of what had happened to me. And they did not come after me. So now this is all, there's more. I see light ships in the sky every night. And this is where this comes around to the healing work and the psychic work. And this is that we, and in my list earlier of all the people or the beings that we can channel to do this work, I think I left out our star brothers and sisters. And isn't that funny? Because they probably had me not say it, and name all the other ones so that it would come around now. And I would say, we're working with them. And this is all in so many of our teachings now. I just attended the Conference for Consciousness and Human Evolution in January in San Diego. And all of the speakers were bringing together this concepts about the gods from religion, the extraterrestrials and our abilities to either do healing work or intuitive abilities. Greg Braden, Bruce Lipton, Leonard Horowitz, Dr. Leonard Horowitz, and William Henry, the consulting producer from Ancient Aliens. Now, these were all the speakers who were there at the Conference for Consciousness and Human Evolution. And my dad was the UFO researcher. I'm having healing miracles. I'm using my intuitive ability to stop terrorist attacks, uncover drug cartel. And these men are standing on stage, and women. The doctors Hertok were there, the married couple. So brilliant. And Marianne Williamson was one of the speakers. They're all talking about the same thing from slightly different angles, but most of them touched on the Christian religion, the history or mythology or whatever around, quote, Jesus and that whole tribe. And what is that? What is that power? And what are the gods? And so they're tying all of that together. And so I feel I am simply a living embodiment of what they are teaching. I am the evolving human, and it is not about me. It is about the collective, and I am simply having an experience. And I want to say at this point that I am honored to be on a panel with people who have degrees like biomedical engineering, like being an acupuncturist, being an Eastern medical or Western doctor, all of these things, because I have none of that. I was a guy who worked in nightclubs and had a foot fetish. I was a gay go-go dancer. And now this is where, and now when Shine recovers, I will say this was all part of my path. Having me be in the, be a go-go dancer has something to do with the healing work that I do through my body now. This is all about and Kathleen is nodding because Kathleen and I, and when you talk about synchronicity, I have accessed all of my ability through doing things like dancing and singing, not studying. And I was guided to look at Kathleen's pictures on her Facebook profile, and whereas what you're talking about are all her degrees and abilities and everything, what I was guided to see is that Kathleen has done a lot of singing in community sing-along and movement, dancing. And that's how I've developed my ability. And that's how it comes down to, because it is all about love and expression. So I'm just trying to tie this a little more into the 3D and into the subject about whole being healing, mind, body, spirit, emotional healing. So I'm acknowledging the association with extraterrestrials and UFOs, because once I started spotting the light ships in the sky, I felt the frequencies coming directly into my hands, into my skull, where there's an implant right here, and they're all good. I will say I'm 63. I have not taken even an aspirin since I was 36. So I acknowledge that the healing miracles are not mine. The psychic intuitive ability is not mine. It is in partnership with all the forces of nature, as Kathleen pointed out. And since I had no idea we were going to go to UFOs, I was going to send you a message earlier and say, now listen, I know I sent you all that stuff, but we don't have to go into any crazy stuff tonight. We can keep it real 3D and just talk about healing and, spirit. But it is all connected.
Let's get into it. This is so wild.
So is popping so much that all at the same time, you invited me to be on this show. A couple of days later, someone named Sheena Metal, who is a psychic in LA who's on talk. She contacted me, invited me to be on Talk Radio LA next Tuesday. And she's speaking at the Parapod Festival. Have you heard of this? It's a 2-day festival celebrating all things paranormal, from UFOs to haunted houses to psychic, like all of it just popped up. So all of this. So this is my experience. And in the middle of this, day before yesterday, for the first time since my father died, UFO researchers and journalists contacted me. They have an iHeart podcast in New York. And out of the blue, they contacted me looking to see if they could get a hold of my father's files. And I just
Oh, wow.
laughed and I said, oh, we'll talk about that. And then let's talk about me. And at the end of the conversation, the guy said, okay, I'm going to just take a few minutes to scrape my brain up off the floor. And then let's, and so these people are all saying yes to interviewing me now after all these people have said no. So thank you for talking with me about this evening. And I'm glad I could at least tie it into healing
I love it.
and intuitive ability. And it all ties into astrology.
I would watch this Netflix series. So,
But Alan,
so
I have
hard.
one question. I have one question for you. Which kind of ET are you channeling? Arthurian people, Sirius, Syrian people.
He said he was a
monkeys?
blue avian.
That was a blue avian experience. And those, my understanding is that the blue avians are actually coming out of the North Pole from Middle Earth. And that Middle Earth is quite real. And that's why these particular starships are within our atmosphere and very easy to see. Those are the ones that I'm spotting in the sky. The implants in 2012, after the dealings with all the government agencies and all of that, my colleagues in New York, and I want to say they were women over the age of 50, tribal elders, looked at me and said, you need to disappear. Your life's in danger. And I went completely off the grid, and which is not easy at this point. That means no cell phone, no laptop, no credit card. No, you can't drive your own car. I hid in Southern Oregon for 4 months. And then Spirit said, drive to San Diego, where I am now. This was like beginning of 2012. What an interesting year, 2012, and I drove to, and I thought, what are we doing? And they guided me out into the farmlands outside San Diego. And 2 nights in a row, I watched the light ships come down so low that you could see the shape, the exact things that my father researched in his books. Triangular with rounded edges, not really round, not really triangular, with a circle of lights underneath that are red, green, and yellow. And I was like, wow, right out of my dad's book. And I was like, and I thought, come on, beam me up. And then you think, nothing happened. And I've been here for 8 hours. I'm going to sleep in my car. And then like my friends nudged me months later and said, Alan, you think nothing happened those nights, And then within another like 6 months to 8 months, I started noticing, and I won't go into the full details, but things happening in my body. And there are 2 of them that are very visible. They're in my pelvis and scrotum, and they've grown larger over the years. They've been there for 11 years at this point. They all have names, and I meant to invite Karen Cressman to watch this evening. She is a multiversal shaman who is out of Philadelphia, and she has worked with me on identifying even the names of these, where they have come from. But I've had a number of colleagues who have helped me identify that those 2 nights I was taken up on Pleiadian light ships, and what was on board was a collection of Pleiadians and Arcturians. And the Arcturians actually, they somehow connect with get on the Pleiadian light ships to do these kinds of operations. And so these were when the boys were implanted into me. And so very good guys. Again, I'm wildly healthy. They do the healing work with me, even in sound healing concerts. I have had healers have to work with me. I get knocked down on the floor on my back from pulling the darkness out of the crowd of people who attend. And it's the implants in me. They're healers, and they're pulling the stuff out of the audience, and it gets stuck in my body. And I've had so many people say, Alan, you don't have to let that stuff move through you, you can work it. And I'm like, thank you. I've been at this for so many years. I've tried everything. It goes the way it goes. And so I went through a period of this where these larger healing events would knock me down because of the ET guys inside me were like working overtime, with the people. And so healers would get around me, and I have 100 of colleagues who fully understand my situation. They'll ask how the boys are, and they helped me. I was getting so bad, the pain was getting so bad in the middle of 2019 and Karen Cressman, the multiversal shaman, she said that when she went out into the cosmos from her apartment in Philly, she went out into the cosmos and she went to some space station and talked to some professor. And she said, Alan, this professor is saying that you can have these removed if you want to, but you will age more like normal people. And I was like, oh my goodness, that's what I thought. And so I then worked with my colleagues who were in concerts with me in New York. And one of them, she said, and this is a woman who does the staffing for the faculty at a major university in New Jersey. That's her day job. But by night, she's one of us. And she was like, she said, Alan, I'm going to go before the Galactic Federation and appear on your behalf and explain to them that this is not working and they need to do something. And I'm trying not to get teary, but it worked. Between her and a healer named Dean Kurt, who has he will have no problem. Dean Kurt's in Brooklyn, and every time I would get really bad, by the time he would answer a text, I'd be starting to get better. He could and in a minute, and between these healers, it stopped in September of 2019. I am now 3 years with all of this going on in my body and really almost no issues, and have done large events since then. So thank you so much for letting me share about all of this reality. It is valuable information, and it sounds a little wild and out there until you hear a little bit about it. So thank you so much for letting me share. God bless.
Thank you. Wow.
Let's all breathe.
Yeah.
It was a lot,
And I keep such a sense of humor.
but it was amazing.
And I love cannabis. Talk about keeping a good mood.
You're so fun. Oh my gosh. Okay. Well, I don't really know where to go. Kathleen and how do you say your name? Cinzia.
Cinzia.
Yeah. I don't really know where to go from here.
I have a topic,
Please.
maybe from my experience, maybe Alan and Kathleen can integrate. I'm noticing that a lot of people have difficulties to understand what it is really intuition. Because, for example, a lot of people are thinking that intuition are like a sort of sixth sense, but reality, in my opinion, is not a sixth sense. And it's interesting, for example, that if we really analyze the word intuition, is coming from the Latin intuere, and tuere, it means to watch. So intuition, it means really be in the process of contemplation inside ourselves. And when I'm explaining this to people, they're really trying to get what it is really intuition, because we all have intuition, but a lot of people, it's like they really have it hard to get it and to understand what it is. And sometimes I'm really trying to explain people that in order to access their intuition, it's really going within themselves, and it's really going deeper, and practice a lot to feel within the five senses. It's all about that. And that's my personal also experience. And I wanted to understand also, Alan and Kathleen, what do you think about it?
I want to jump in for a second and say I saw a message in the chat. Somebody was asking if we could move to questions sometime soon. Yeah. And so I just wanted to bring that to your attention, to our dear hosts.
Yep, got it.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, Kathleen, feel free to touch in on intuition or anything you want to share.
Oh, thank you, Cinzia. Yeah, so what I love about all of us gathering is continually hearing and being reminded that we are all able to tap into the information. We can call it intuition in this conversation. I personally experience it as following the energy. Following the energy is my experience of it. And sometimes it comes as, you know, like Cinzia was mentioning that it related to the senses. Sometimes I'll hear something, like if I'm in a healing session, I would hear something, or I'm spatial and visceral. So I'll like literally feel it in my own body, or and then because of the knowledge of the body with Chinese medicine, I would translate that. So for each of you, it's about developing your own language. It's developing your own vocabulary. And so sometimes it might be not a physical sense in your gut, but intuition is so much more than this just hunch, right? It is literally practicing a language with yourself and the universe. It's literally a communication with you and your experience of whatever is showing up, right? Be it a bird that shows up or a color that catches your eye. The one thing that I love to that I've stopped questioning is through the years, I'll literally be about to walk out the door, say, and I'll just like all of a sudden something will be in my hand, or it will be right there at the door. You know, it's been there a while, or it moved in the house. And I'm like, why is this in my hand? I don't question anymore. But it used to be like, why is this in my hand? I was going to like put it away 3 days ago or whatever. Now I just know, oh, I just put it in my purse. I put it in the pocket. I do whatever. And almost always within 1 hour, at most 24 hours. I think recently in the last year, maybe the longest was 3 days. I bump into someone who needs that exact thing that's in my hand, right? And so it's just about listening in new ways to what is around you. And it is easier when we're quiet and we spend time in nature, or we're quiet alone. But it's a game of language, and just noticing what color catches your eye when you walk into a room, what words you hear in a song. And this is all about developing your own language and communication with everything that is around you, because everything that's around you is reflecting back to you your own consciousness. Your consciousness is what's picking up the cues. So it's your consciousness talking back to you and your relationship with the universe. So it's fun. It's fun. And so we don't have to like go into doubt or whatever, but we also don't always get the answer with just seeing one color, right? It's this evolving conversation and listening of sometimes iterations, you know, sometimes it's very specific, but sometimes it's just, I'm going to walk left when I go out the door instead of right today. Yeah.
Beautiful.
I love it.
So
I don't know
good.
if that's helpful.
Yeah, no, that's really, the show's been such a good reminder of what we've been working on with Unite and our platform. And if you don't know, please check us out at www.unite.love. And one of the features that we're really excited to be bringing to you guys is the love stream. And what it's going to be doing is exactly what we're doing here tonight. This would be an episode on the love stream. What we really want to do is have a space where we can have these conversations. And right now we're doing them set at a certain time and gathering everybody and building it up. But what we're so excited about is 24/7 awesome conversations like this. At the beginning, it's going to be one channel. So some of them will be pre-booked and some of them will be spontaneous. And eventually we will sort it to, of course, there's going to be an ET only channel, and there will be an astrology channel, and there will be a yoga channel, and there will be a entrepreneur business channel. And basically anybody can just start a conversation. But how we're going to do it differently than, let's say, going on Facebook Live is any of the platforms right now, when you go live, you only go to your network, which is great. And a lot of these people on this call today have been invited or brought to us, not just through our network. So if it was only to our network, lots of you would be missing out on this. So what's really exciting is when you go live on the love feed on you, or the love stream on Unite, it's going to go live to everybody who says they're interested in that subject eventually. at this point, it's just going to go live to everyone, and everyone on Unite can see it. And eventually you'll say, yes, I want to see every time there's something on the ET channel, I'm there. Please send me a notification every time. And I would be like, every time Kathleen goes on, I want to be there because I love her little tips and tricks. That's so helpful. Every time that that Cinzia is on, like, just get that information. So that's what the love stream is going to do. And I feel like this conversation could go on infinitely, because I know there's lots of questions and everyone's really juiced up and excited about these topics. And I just wanted to put in a little drop in the bucket about Unite, and that's what we want to do, is create a space where, yes, people can have shows or classes or pre-structured things, of course, but our favorite time is when we just get to jam and things flow and roll into another thing, and then we can break out into sub conversations and really be able to take all these thoughts and all these ideas further and deeper. And sometimes you think, oh, I'm the only one who thinks that. And then you're going to get into a conversation. Someone will be like, I get that too. And exactly like Kathleen was saying at the beginning of this call, like, it's so fun to see the kind of, coincidences, synchronicities, the way we come together when we're not even sure why, or, why is this in my hand? And we really want the Unite platform, and especially the love stream, to be that. You're like, I don't know why I'm in a really bad mood, but I need to go on the call I don't know why, I just need to go on the list. Or I'm in a great mood. I don't know, like, I'm busy. I don't have time for this, but I just have to go on, like, just follow our intuition. So that's really we want the love stream to be, as a place where we can all show up and just be where we're at and play with the universe, and kind of let the technology that we're creating be another one of these tools. So that's what we're doing with Unite.
Love it.
Yeah. Thank you.
Let's do questions.
Yeah.
Any questions, any subject. You can ask a specific person, or you can just state it, and people who are inspired can share.
Actually, before we get into questions, just because I'm realizing we're getting late in our time. For some people who don't want to be on all night, I do want to do a quick reminder that we do go live every week. And next week, on the 23rd, is that the 23rd? The 23rd, we are actually going to be talking for everyone who's local, tuning in the local Vancouver area, we are hosting a wonderful event April 9th, which is Easter, but it's going to be a fun, super amazing Spring into Abundance Easter event. And next week on the 23rd, we're going to be talking to the presenters and some of the sound healers who are helping us orchestrate the event. So please do tune in if you're thinking about joining us, if you don't know what we're talking about, but you think it sounds cool, or even if you're just interested in hearing from these amazing presenters and what they have to offer, because, we have orchestrated a lovely offering with that event. So you can find that Unite Journeys on Facebook. That's the name of our event. And yeah, so tune in next week, same time, and get to meet those guys. So, and
then next week after that, it's all about real estate.
Yeah.
So we're talking with founders of a digital real estate investment platform called Retium.
Yeah.
And REITIUM. And it's the first of its kind where you can invest as little as $100 in like 5 to 15 minutes of work. They have all the documentation right there. You can do everything like online. It's facilitated through the blockchain, but it's just money, and they have their first deal is live. It's a brand new platform that they've been working on for 5 years.
They're a really conscious group of people that have wanted to take what is traditionally a little bit of exclusive or elitist area in real estate. You have to be knowledgeable, you have to have money, and really shortened the gap of who can be in real estate in a really amazing way. And their mission was really to help their moms who were like retired and couldn't buy real estate. Of course, they couldn't go buy a house or a big property, but they're like, but we really want to support our moms be more stable in their retirement plan. And they built this platform so that their moms could get into real estate. And it's just an amazing group of people. So yeah, so those are the kind of guests that we have coming up on the Unite show. And if you also know someone that you would love to see on the Unite show, please do reach out and let us know so that we can do a show with them.
We got a lot of people coming up. We're going to be booked for the next like 3 months or so.
Yeah,
So
and
lots to
and
choose.
if you want to do a love stream, like I said, I mean, we're doing once a week and we're pretty busy, so we're doing our best to fit everyone in. But you know what? The love stream we want to get this like 24 hours. So we really do want to make more and more and more shows and episodes.
And it's available right now, unite.love/lovestream. You can just create one. You can go live through Unite, or you can use your own Zoom link. It's great.
Yeah.
Really, really helpful.
Yeah. So there's our little Unite plug before, because I know we're going to get into some super juicy
Thank
conversations.
you for doing that. It was a good idea.
And I want to make sure that, like Shine said, we don't have a time limit. I mean, stay as long as you want. We love to keep these conversations going. And we also value and appreciate your time. And if you have to leave and have questions, please do pop them in the chat. We'll get them answered and send you the recording.
Yeah.
So yeah. Seven has been waiting with her little hand in the air.
Do it, Seven.
What do you have to say, Seven?
Okay. Yeah, I don't mind waiting at all. Today's been kind of one of those. Venus entered Taurus, and it's just, we had a breakfast brunch for Seneca's birthday, and she didn't even make it to her own party. It was that kind of slow moving Taurus thing. I wanted to say that Kathleen's creation of the conscious calendars came to me through Unite about 3 years ago, maybe, or 4 years ago.
Probably when we had her on the show last time.
Oh,
Yeah. Then we did a big
I think it was actually in one of your emails that goes out that people are able to put offerings in the emails or something, but I had a chance to try it. And so for myself, I watch the planets now on YouTube, and I like to watch an ephemeris and just kind of like, to me, it's kind of just checking the star weather. But for my husband and my son, they both also tried your product. I did try it myself, and it was nice. For my husband and my son, who don't follow astrology at all, it was really helpful for them. For my husband, it was in business and how he was dealing with colleagues, and he actually was using it for scheduling some of his meetings too, and going like, oh, I'm just not available that day, right? But yeah, and then for my son, who's 21 now, he at the time, he's in his teens and going through a long-term relationship, and so it was really helpful for him to kind of go like, ooh, we're really in the muck right now. And then he looks at that calendar and goes like, it takes the edge off. It's like, you really don't need prescriptions. Okay, guys, we can do all of this without the substances, right? But like, it just takes the edge off a little bit to know like, okay, maybe it's not me, maybe it's just the stars, right? Maybe Seneca missed her own birthday party because Venus was in Taurus today, and it's time to slow down. And so yeah, so kind of my question actually right now is just about the Great Conjunction that we've just gone through is a really big deal. And I was watching from 2016, 2017 and watching it coming up, and not entirely sure how it was going to come through, but 2019 until just like now-ish was, well, we all went through it, right? And so for myself, like, I was not as disturbed as many people I know who didn't follow astrology. And so yeah, it kind of took the edge off, I guess, for me, and it also helped me to know that it will get better and kind of when too. And so yeah, just kind of wondering, like, mostly with astrology, but also with channeling and being in tune with other energies, is like, do you find that it kind of shifts how you respond to things where other people might be having really big reactions to things, and yet you have a little bit more information kind of helping you to navigate that? Does it change how you respond to these big things? And does that affect how you connect with people who don't have that information. I
Oh,
hope that
love it.
question was clear.
Yeah, great question, Seven. Who would like to jump in with that? Kathleen, I think it's on you.
Oh, okay. I thought, Cinzia, you look like you were thinking and about to say something. I didn't want to. What a great question. You know, yeah, I do experience astrology and this knowledge as like a tool. Yeah, that does help guide my experience of the energies that are around, but also like with the big conjunction you're talking about, some people may not know, they felt it. We all felt it. We all went through this, but the big conjunction is Jupiter and Venus that were just together. And in the Vedic sky map, which is 23 degrees different, it's just shifted back almost one constellation, was in Pisces in the Vedic system. And Jupiter in Pisces is year of the bunny, is year of the rabbit. It's this flow energy, but in the Vedic calendar, Venus is at its most powerful of the year when it's in Pisces. So these two extremely bright lights, right? Because Jupiter and Venus in the Indian system are the great teachers. One is, you know, Jupiterian energy, which is one of the largest knowledge sources in our solar system. And Venus teaches through our body, through the emotions, through our experience. And so these two great teachers were gathered, and it was almost so much energy that it was really hard to process all of the gifts and the flow that was coming in. So I did call it a golden zone, but there were certain ascendants. Like if your ascendant was, say, Aries, it was a little bit of a different experience to have all this energy flowing in through the area of like your spiritual practices. Yeah, right. So you're right, probably in Aries and the Western. So, so for some people, I think the piece I want to mention is that when we get these flows of energy, like we're about to have another stellium that you were referring to, right, that are coming up with the eclipses. So April 19th is going to be a solar eclipse. In some areas of the world will be a total solar eclipse. Then Jupiter changes constellations on the 21st of April. And then we have a lunar eclipse on May 5th. Now we have eclipses every 6 months, but we're going to be having a stellium lineup, and in the Vedic system, it will be Aries. Very different than this place of let's connect with the cosmos and bring new information in and new teaching elements and new ways of collaborating that are actually going to be rippling through each of our lives for the next 9 months. We're all being given the opportunity to collaborate, right? In the ethos, right? Like Alan is like, yes, let's get together in person. And I think that what we're actually learning how to do, these two shifts are actually about how to gather and collaborate with these new councils, how our councils are talking to each other's councils, which is why we're all here together. And right. And so we can, you know, we're listening to our councils, we're talking. And at the same time, it's sort of like, you know, let's let everybody talk to each other and guide each of us together physically as well as in the ethers. So this is the big shift that's coming with the flow, and the Aries energy is that fire. But to answer your real question, like I did have an experience where it was like so much, like the knowledge isn't enough, right? The knowledge that these energies were happening wasn't enough to deal with the influx of energy that I did have some experiences where I wanted to kind of not quite shut off, but it was just like, it was just almost too much that I really needed to spend more time in nature, more time stretching. And when on those days that I didn't, I definitely felt a difference. So the knowledge is good, but it's always about, for me, like, I feel like you're kind of asking, like, in the end, it's still, we're all here to do our work, right? To evolve. And so I'll still fumble, I'll still stumble, you know, even with knowledge and know what's going on. And it just helps me psychologically, but I still will have that experience if it's too much, or it's a lesson for me to unravel. And then thankfully I have good friends that have these incredible healing abilities that I can use to help help me with the messages that I know are there. So was that kind of the answer you were looking for, 7? Yeah. The knowledge is great, but sometimes we still got to do our, it's not even work. It's the dance, really, like Alan was saying, it's the dance. It's helping things move through. So
Love it.
yeah.
Thank you for that download. Cinzia, do you have anything to tap in on top of that?
I can only compliment, meaning that, yeah, we can, with astrology, you can see, you can know that you have a specific collective energy in a specific period. And of course, this knowledge can help you, but we are still human, so we are in a human experience. So sometimes we also need, despite all the knowledge that we have in astrology, to really take our times and really ground a lot ourselves and spending a lot of time in nature to really discharge from this heaviness that we are passing through. So that's it.
Beautiful. How did that land for you, 7? Good.
Yeah, that's very relatable. We definitely are still human, and it is a dance. And I'm wondering about if I guess for myself, it eases a bit of the fear that I see in others who are just so worried about the future and they just have no tools. And so here we are on a call tonight. And also, if Alan has anything to say about this as well, just having the tools to connect and to get information, and how that changes fear and worry about the future.
Nice question. Yeah, that's great. And I want to hear Alan's answer in a moment. And I think that's something that I've kind of thought about from time to time too, of that kind of, if we have the tools, then we should be better prepared in a way in our minds. And what I find actually is sometimes for me, the tools can, in a way, in those bumps like Kathleen was talking about, they can almost make it a little bit harder for me, because I'm like, I knew about this and I should, and so it makes it harder for me in that piece of criticizing myself for still having a challenge or having a hard time, because I have some awareness. So in a way, sometimes I feel a little envious of the people who maybe do have less tools, just in that piece of like, damn it, I wish I didn't know that I knew that I could have done something differently, but I still chose to do this thing and have a hard time. So I feel like maybe, that kind of piece is still, yeah. Poppy doesn't have those same feelings, I don't think. She definitely.
She's got intuition and tools.
Yeah, she's got her tools just fine. But I think that's kind of a piece that's eased my, and Shine was talking about this on the Connected Awakened World call that we were on yesterday, with our lovely host Alan and
Scott Canamus.
Scott Canamus, and Shine was talking about how he used to feel like, how could he kind of do his life when there's people starving in Africa and people having these challenges around the world, and how can we kind of just focus on our life? So he ended up going to Africa on a Canada World Youth Exchange Program, and he found that actually they yes had struggles, but they were very much not the struggles that Shine thought they had, and his kind of putting on them that he needed to come save them or rescue them or help them was very much incongruent, and they were actually very happy in their own way, and then they had challenges of their own as well. But it was kind of a funny reminder for me sometimes when I feel like that, like I feel worried about other people, or that, yeah, maybe they don't have this information or they don't have the tools. And then when I stub my toe or break my toe and know that it was kind of my fault and I can't blame anyone else and I was out, then I kind of wish that I didn't know what I know, because I think I would be easier on myself. So that's just kind of my soothing piece too, of like, we all get the tools that we need and that are helpful when we need them. And it's also really it can be really soothing to be like, oh, okay, exactly. I didn't know all that about Aries, and geez Louise, have I had a rough couple of, and I am double Aries, sun and rising in Aries, and I have had a very intense physical body experience for the last 6 months. And it's like, oh, okay, thanks, Kathleen. It's good to know I'm not crazy. The planets are doing it to me. But it is fun to feel like there is a little bit of a cosmic blueprint, and through astrology or through whatever way we want to tap in and get those intuitive pieces, if we let it be soothing and don't let it be a stick that we use to beat ourselves up for not doing better, it can be a wonderful tool. So thanks for that reminder, everyone. And
there's a really amazing podcast called the Aubrey Marcus podcast. And he's such a sweetheart. And one of his last guests was talking about magic. And his definition of magic is just things that we can't quite explain. So he's studying from a scientific perspective through IONS, the Institute of Noetic Sciences, things that are sciences yet to catch up on, like psychics and things like that. And he's a meditator for many, many years. And that was his top tool when Aubrey asked him to share, what's one thing that everyone can do? What's the most important thing? And so he just said, meditation for him. And what he was noticing I think he said like 30 plus years, like a lot of years of meditation. Mm-hmm. And what he was saying is that every day is different, and that he's learned to allow himself to be exactly where he is and not expect the same result. And that it's okay if some days you can't even meditate because your mind is just not there and you just need to like veg out or do something different. And it's okay if some days you go so deep that you can, transport onto a galactic ship and stand in front of the, Federation and plead Alan's case. Like both are fine. And it's about not holding that expectation. I love Bashar's tip is like, follow your highest excitement to the best of your ability with no expectation on the outcome. Mm-hmm. So just whatever feels a little bit more exciting. Is this the most exciting thing you could think of doing right now, even if it's going to the bathroom or like something mundane, like just do that until it's no longer the most exciting thing, then do something else and just have no expectation of the outcome. You're not trying to get anywhere. It's just like following that intuitive guidance of like, and the little nudge of like, ooh, does this feel a little better? Does this feel a little bit better? And that's Abraham too. Feel a little bit better, up the emotional scale. And I found that by following that path, when I can really, on days when I'm really in an energetic space that allows sort of a more full connection to my higher self, I'll get into these states where I can commune directly with my higher self, and I'll be able to ask questions like Abraham and just get real clear answers. And it just feels so clear, so succinct. It feels like, should I do this? Yes, no, it's not the right time to ask or think about it. Like, it's just very clear. It's like talking to someone who really knows what they're talking about. And it's so lovely because that's been one of my challenges, is feeling scattered or like, what should we do? Or what's the next step? And especially with Unite, it's like my job as a leader, as a CEO, is like to pick the direction and to like have that. And so it's like, okay, now that I've been able to really tune into this, as a kid, as a younger person, I realized that I was able to talk myself in or out of pretty much anything. Yeah. That if I just talked about it and thought about it, I could kind of like guide and say, oh yeah, this is the thing to do. Oh no, that's the actual opposite of the thing to do. And I could sort of talk myself into either one. So it's like, well, how do I really know? And I feel like I've been able to tap into that. And now I try not to make decisions or really do anything until I get a really clear, hell yes, this is it. Like, it's just so on it and it's so clear. And that's what's come up as from the love stream, is like, that's the thing to do next. That's the focus. And then maybe services a little bit after. But, it's like, I'm surprised at how my soul doesn't really give me too much. And it doesn't, some things I'm like, oh, what about this? It's like, don't worry about that right now. Don't even think about it. It's not important. And it just like that it's okay to not know. It's okay to not go some places. It's okay to just like have one thing and just do that, or not know and just relax, and giving myself permission to just chill and like not work one day or just go for a walk or go for a drive, and then allow myself to get into that flow, I'm finding that like even on days when I have lower energy, if I allow myself, I can still either watch something really informative or get some emails done that aren't really high energy but just detail work, and I'll be guided to like make the best use of that time and feel really fulfilled and really happy and really excited and just feel like I'm in my life, loving it, not stressed out. So that's been the biggest shift for me in terms of, yeah, day-to-day things. And it's very simple. It's just meditation in the morning, and then some practice that allows me to get into the receiving mode and stay there, whether that's going for a walk or staying in meditation or going for a drive, and just allowing that momentum to build with no expectation and just letting it flow. And then, oh, I'm guided to go here, I'm guided to think this, I'm guided to on my phone, like just being conscious of that. And oh, I'm guided here, but it feels like it's from a really negative place of like I should be doing something, so maybe I'm just gonna not do that and just pause, wait till I get into a better place. So
Yeah. Cinzia.
Yeah, I want to,
Cinzia.
Cinzia, I wanted
Cinzia.
just to compliment what you just said, Shine. Sometimes, I mean, a lot of people are thinking that meditation is like sitting in silence, but meditation can also be like painting, gardening. So we are not obliged to just be seated in silence, because when you are in the flow, you can be in the flow like taking care of the plants or just having a walk. And the most important thing is that when you are in the flow and you got that specific intuition, it's just like I always say to myself, it's just like a wave. So if you don't act immediately, it will disappear. So it's always good, like you were saying, when you have an intuition, always taking action immediately, otherwise the intuition will be gone.
Yeah.
So I just want to compliment the experience.
Love it. We met a woman yesterday who amassed 86,000 followers on Instagram by learning how to paint her nails during COVID. And now she has nail art and paid her rent through the brand deals of, I guess, nail polishes, you know, wanting to get free promotion. But for her, it was mental health time. It was relaxing to just paint her nails because she couldn't really think about anything else.
Yeah.
Our little mental health hacks. Alan, do you want to share anything?
Yes, thank you.
Please.
Cinzia, thank you for clarifying that there are many forms of meditation, including active meditations. I was thinking earlier when Shine mentioned Aubrey Marcus, I wanted to mention that there's a full range, including like the Osho, very, very active meditations, jumping up and down and screaming. There's the Zen raking the gravel kind of meditations. Zen and the art of motorcycle maintenance was about this subject. Zen and the art of archery was telling us that the target and the shooter are one. So there are all these different ways to meditate and to learn meditation. And I just want to add that I was human doing rather than a human being much of my early adult life. I could just never stop like doing things. Always results had to be accomplished. So meditation was challenging. And then I did a 10-day Vipassana meditation retreat. So for people who have who find meditation challenging, I invite you to check out dhamma.org, DHAMMA.org, because Vipassana meditation retreats are free. You can't even give to their worldwide organization until you have completed a 10-day silent meditation. And it is hard. I would look closely at what this is before you go and do it, because it is grueling in some ways to sit silent meditation 10 or 11 hours a day for 10 days in a row. And they have programs 20, 30, 60 days of doing this. And the second time that I did a 10-day Vipassana, I was way worse of a student than the first time. I was grumpy, you know, like, oh, why did I do this again? But what you feel afterwards, what you let go of and what you access, and what the wisdom that comes to you. And then it's like riding a bicycle. Meditation, you drop in like that. And I haven't done one of those long silent ones in 20 years. But if I'm in the midst of, I can sit on the subway or be really, life can be really tough, but you can drop in once you've really tapped into that kind of deep meditation. So that's that on meditation. And then Kathleen, I'm so glad that you talked about connecting with nature, and that you acknowledged that, yes, the information about the what's going on with Jupiter and Venus, what's going on with the gods and the frequencies is useful and important. And then we are still here day to day, and we still got to go to work and do daily life, or bow out for a day and veg out, as Shine said. And so you mentioned going into nature to connect with nature, to balance the frequencies, to be healed, to release, and to release into nature. And so I think somebody mentioned the elements, and I think that was Kathleen. And so I want to acknowledge that, just a quick short list, and this is a short list for dealing with whatever's going on, this is a short list that we give after healing events as well, how to process. And so connecting with the elements, meaning hug trees when you go out into nature. And I thought I loved nature. I thought I was very much a nature person until I was touring the West Coast with a 19-year-old healer named Dan, who taught me to hug trees. And I thought, how did I get to 50 without really, you actually hug the tree? And it's an experience. And then you can just take that up to touch what Crystal just did, touching plants as you're walking, just increasing your connection with nature. And then also hot Epsom salts baths, connecting, whether it's the hot springs, which I just living in Colorado, I went to 6 different hot springs. I used to practically live at Harbin Hot Springs north of San Francisco. And because Spirit kept sending me there in between Burning Man and healing events, and I got it. It's the water. Go to the water. It's ancient. It's cross-cultural. Get in the water. Sit around the fire, the beat of the drum, under the full moon. So all of these things, connecting with the elements. That's why we hold the crystals. And I'm not knowledgeable about all of that, but because I've tapped in through following the path, I can walk up to an altar, or, in a crystal shop, or, somebody's shrine, and it all starts coming through me. Alan Steinfeld was on your show. That's gorgeous. That's
Celestine, I think.
Celestite. It's
Yeah.
this pale silver blue, right?
Yeah.
It's
So
one of the
pretty.
most gorgeous, and you've got it in a heart shape.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Alan Steinfeld, who was on your show recently,
Yep.
produced the 10-10-10 Crystal Skulls Conference in New York, which all the world famous, it was one of the most extraordinary crystal skulls and crystal. So things like that. I'm tangenting off, but back to the thing, connecting with all of the elements, and then movement and stretching, yoga, and all of this. And I am developing a modality. This part of this Io Ui Zui is get on a mat and stretch. This is so accessible to people. And if you watch the videos of what I'm doing, it's a combination of moving energy and like playing, and some yoga postures, asanas. And what will flow through you will turn into a way of releasing and activating your own abilities direct. Because Seven was asking about, or Cinzia was suggesting, she said, Alan, if you have suggestions on how people can tap into the frequencies, whether we call that the gods in astrology, the planets, or the stars, or, as I have acknowledged, our ET star brothers and sisters, or you're just connecting with the elements of nature, as Kathleen said at the beginning, then the ways to do it are kind of ancient and simple. And for all of that, it's connecting with the elements, and moving your body, the singing, dancing, move your voice, move your body, and you will release. And so I am going to close this because I'm actually going to have to bow out. I would love to stay, but talk about synchronicity. I want to just tell you what you are doing for me this evening in San Diego. I actually have been sleeping in my lovely vehicle because it's all set up for it. And I'm bouncing around from LA to San Diego to Palm Springs. And I thought, oh, where am I doing this show? And I ended up getting an Airbnb for 2 nights. Now, this is the synchronicity. This woman, who I didn't know this, her name is Tina Knight, Knight. This is her altar behind me. She's a Reiki master and a yoga teacher, owns Hapa Yoga in San Diego, HAPA. And after I checked into my little Airbnb and said, oh my God, this is where, I mean, she even gave me a ring light to be on. She said, oh, do you need a ring light, dear? And I thought, how could you get so lucky getting an Airbnb? And then she said, I have to go. You're going to be on your own. I'm emceeing a film pitch event tonight for the San Diego film community. And I said, she had already heard that I have all these things I'm pitching. And she said, you should come. And I said, I'm doing this show tonight. And she said, it's going till 10 or a little later. If you can get there by 9, get your butt.
Good.
You guys are actually triggering me going to push these things for our community, healing, psychic work, all of this stuff. I'm going to go maybe pitch in front of an audience now.
Amazing. Well, I hope we've juiced you up and got you charged up and ready to go.
You're so fun.
So good.
I so appreciate you, Alan.
Absolutely love it. Oh, did we lose him? He's frozen. So good. Well, in case he comes back, thank you so much, Alan, for being a guest. And I feel like that's such a fun segue. We were talking about magic, like I forget, did you bring up magic, Shine? And how magic is, of course, just
I got a banana.
there's Alan there.
Am I back?
You're
You're
back.
back.
Wow, maybe this is important. My last thing to say is everybody can get at least a yes or no in what is called basic kinesiology. I mean, this stuff is so simple, but when I do psychic circles, and this is the power of bringing people together, everybody, even people who've never done this before, your body will simply kind of tip up, or your hand will raise a little bit, your eyebrows will go up. They'll come in and do it with everybody in the room, and you can watch a whole room full of people answer simple yes or no questions. So for everybody wanting to tap in, you have this within you. Feeling is the access. And I want to say that this is so powerful, this community and this panel, that at the beginning, even as Kathleen was introducing herself, I don't know if you saw me, I couldn't stop yawning. And I was kept releasing huge waves of energy, and tears were streaming down my face, not out of emotion, but because that's the body releasing through liquid and breathing. And even just this gathering without us formally doing healing work, like now we're doing the healing. I've been releasing since the beginning of this. So I say this for everybody's consciousness to be aware. If you're finding yourself, because I heard somebody coughing and I thought somebody else is releasing too right now. So if you're feeling a lot during this, breathe and let it come up and out, because this is a powerful group of light workers gathered here this evening. Thank you so much for inviting me to be on this. It's an honor. Cinzia, Kathleen, Shine, Crystal, thank you so much. Much love. And I'm going to bow out.
Have the best time tonight.
Yeah, we're
so excited.
Sending you all the juju for sure to go make more magic.
We'll definitely do this again.
Woo!
And you need to have the Alan show on Unite like tomorrow.
On the list, just 24/7.
Line me up, baby.
Yeah.
Okay. Much love.
Love you, brother. So nice to connect.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
Later.
Yeah. And I think that is just really such a perfect example, like Alan was saying, about the ways synchronicities can come into life, and the way following our intuition, following our guidance, you know, the thought to, okay, I'll get an Airbnb so that I have a place to do the show, and the Airbnb lady is now who knows, the launching pad. We need to do the next show because I want the update on like what happened. So, you know, I think you're going to have to do a show whether you want to or not. So yeah, thank you, Alan. So good.
Yeah.
Mm,
Any other
So
juicy
fun.
questions from anyone? Or thoughts, or just general lovings?
General lovings, general awesomeness.
I know Matthew might have something to announce, but I'm not sure if he does.
Mr. Matthew. Yeah, if anyone has anything that they want to share with the community.
Matthew announces that he loves you. Generally.
We really do create
something about Dow. I'm not sure if it's happening.
We really do create such a fun community vibe here and on the shows, and every time it's surprise. We're surprised and delighted. That's one of my favorite things I got from one of the Abraham workshops we went to, where she just really talked about it not planning everything, not needing to fill in our own grid. And I think that's something where with astrology and all those conversations where it's not kind of like, okay, you do this and then you do that and then you do the next thing and here's the rules and here's how you can operate so that you work best or whatever, and just really letting ourselves be surprised and delighted and following that inspiration, like Shine said, to just feel a little bit better in the moment, a little bit better in the moment. And Alan's beautiful story of his inspiration or Shine's inspiration to have him on the show. I don't know if he messaged you or you messaged him. And then his thought that I'm in my car, I'd probably like an Airbnb to stay at. And then the next piece of now this woman who knows what she's going to bring into his existence. So this is what I tell this to my kids, and that was another Abraham piece is with kids, like, don't tell them they can't have things when they want things. And they're like, Mom, I want this toy and that toy and this game and that game. She says, don't say no. And a great tool for parents is like, well, then I can't buy them everything. And she said, you can tell them that's great. Let's manifest that. It's not going to come through me right now directly, but let's see what other channels, what other paths. And we just imagine and we think about it. And sometimes we walk down the back lane and we find the toy that they wanted in someone's garbage, just like sitting there. And we're like, oh, there's the toy with it. Like, so, and that's another piece when people, especially speaking to all our wellness practitioners and entrepreneurs and business people, sometimes you feel like, oh, I've got to make this much money to do these things, or I've got to learn these skills and learn how to market myself and do the click funnels and the things and the stuff and the pieces to be successful. And that
Kathleen knows.
Kathleen's nodding at us. And I get overwhelmed too. It feels like there's so many options and so many things. And even on this call with so many wonderful modalities and different pieces, and you're like, okay, I've got to learn all about this or all about that or figure that thing out. And really that softening piece and that reminding ourselves that these are all super fun tools and it's all a fun way to play, and really just showing up and being you and finding what next piece and next inspiration can just make things a little bit happier and a little bit easier, grounding, nature, all those pieces, just to soften that piece. And I think that's a message that feels pertinent to me and what I've been really got to through all my bodily pieces over the last couple of months. And that sometimes we get to that almost fear crisis place of whether it's health or finances, that, I can see that this isn't working. And I know because I'm a somewhat enlightened person that I'm creating it. And what do I need to do to change or fix it? And just softening back and soothing yourself back to that place of just settling in, be gentle with yourself. Anything, absolutely anything that makes you feel better in the moment, do it. It's good for you. McDonald's cheeseburger, if it feels better in the moment, do it. It's good for you. We had one on the way home last night.
Vegan 7 is like, don't do it, man. Don't do it.
And it really, that was an Abraham Hicks thing that was really helpful, because I feel like for me, it's been that same piece of like, okay, as an enlightened person, these are these rules and these are these ways that we have to show up, and softening that to really, we're having a human experience, and whatever makes your experience feel better in the moment, do that. And if you're triggered as F and having a really hard time, maybe don't make decisions from that place too. And that's a rule that Shine and I also have with ourselves, is let's say you have a diet that you're planning on upholding and you feel really good about it and you're in the moment and you're inspired and you kind of commit to eating certain things, and then you're having a really rough day and you feel awful and you're like, oh, I'm just going to eat this, it's going to make me feel better. You know, if you don't feel as good as you did when you made the plan, probably wait on that because it's not coming from your highest self. But yeah, just be soft with yourselves. And I think that's a piece that our community could all do more of. Treat yourself the way you would treat your babies or your little ones or your little self. And yeah, together we get to raise each other up. Yay. Together we get to raise each other up and inspire each other, but not overwhelm and not feel this pressure to do everything and fix everything, and ourselves too. So yeah, there's my little 2 cents to wrap up this lovely conversation, and really just appreciate the time and space. And I think also giving ourselves integration time. And I think that's especially with Kathleen, and actually maybe we could wrap up with that. I'd love to hear Kathleen just kind of, like you were saying, in this kind of big wave of time, what are some kind of thoughts, and anyone who wants to share just like gentle integration tools. And I think that would be a really nice way to leave this call, is just with what are gentle integration tools that we can use, that you use to just soften those pieces. And whether you use them today, tomorrow, or in a month from now, just knowing that that's kind of available is soothing for me anyway. So yeah, we'll start with Kathleen and then anyone else who wants to share.
Oh, thank you so much. You guys, I just love you and all of you here. I mean, this is, you know, every time I connect with you guys, even when we're just like, I'm looking at the channel and what you're putting up on Unite and what's happening on the show, your energy is so loving, and the way you help us all connect with each other. I just love telling people about the app and coming to the community. Some of my friends are still like nervous about like sharing their thing, like my assistant and all of these other people. I'm like, really, you can just go on and just start gently. And that's kind of what we keep coming back to, is this gentleness.
Piano.
Piano. That was our favorite Italian.
That was our favorite Italian phrase.
Well said, well said.
We had a tour guide and she kept going, we go this way.
Piano.
Right.
We go this way, piano. And that's how we toured the Colosseum.
Yeah.
What does it mean?
Okay.
Piano. So
Piano. What does it mean?
it means slowly.
Slowly.
Piano.
But it's like it never felt like slowly, like stop. It was more like
No rush.
Piano. The people would be like, oh, we've got to rush to the next thing, and she's like, we'll go there, but slowly. It's piano.
Let's live a life piano.
Yeah.
That's it then. That's it, right?
Yeah.
Enjoy, stroll, experience. Yeah, and I think you were just asking how to sort of be gentle and integrate sound, like what you were just doing with the plant, right? Interacting with our environment. I know that for me, if I'm integrating something, sometimes I use sound. So I'll use sound to acknowledge ding, 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 boom, ba, ba, you know, or moving something through. And as you know, you saw Alan was doing a lot of it, but also just literally movement is the easiest integration. And petting ourselves, petting the plants, but also what?
Jay Light Touch, Jay Mayer, he's there.
Oh,
He does this thing.
Does he really?
Thing.
Yeah.
Oh no, I didn't know
Light
that.
Touch, and it's amazing.
See, it's just see, the energy is just all there. We're just reading it all, right?
Yeah. So good. Yeah. Petting ourselves. That's what animals do for us. And you know, it gives us the excuse to pet something, but we need to pet ourselves as much.
The animals live life piano usually. Like they just chill, and when it's time to go, they go. But you know, they do a lot of laying around and a lot of chilling and a lot of like, just like, yep, I'm worthy. Nope, right. I don't have to do anything.
And enjoying as they go.
It's all good.
Yeah.
No stress. I love that. Yeah. Seven, did you have something?
You're muted, sweetheart. Unmute.
Yeah, I was gonna say that I checked out Jay's website, and I really like, you know, kind of the direction that that's taking me with learning and understanding. And I think it would be awesome for a Unite show to be all about touch and like get maybe some tantra, like bring in Naomi. I'm sorry, I'm
That'd be
so
fun.
tired today and slow today, but like a Unite show all about touch, and get Jay to come back and get, you
Love that
know,
idea.
because not just how we touch ourselves, but how we touch others, and just how magical that can be. And maybe Kathleen wants to say more about how touching can bring it in.
Yeah.
I love that. And Matthew, feel free to share a bit about the Embrace DAO if you want. Anyone else, feel free to jump in and share an insight or just something you've got coming up that you want to share or whatever you want.
Yeah.
Or we can just bliss piano, end the show.
Announce what he put in the chat so people can hear it, right? Because people in the
Yeah.
replay can't hear Matthew's
Oh,
event.
he's on a video. So he's got this, it's called Embrace DAO. And I've been to one. I don't know if Crystal came, and it was really lovely. It's he said it's a multi-thousand-year-old ceremony hosted in English, no catches or pitches, no or sign-ups or upsells, pure sacred gift opportunity if your soul is called to third eye access and spiritual grounding tools. The ceremony is different and next level. Oh, I
And
came
the
to a
date.
dinner. I guess there's a different, this is a ceremony.
Scroll up for the date, April.
April 22nd in Richmond in BC.
Yeah.
And I think if it's with the same person, it's with this beautiful man who has been studying Taoism and practicing for, 60, 70 years or something. And it was really lovely, the one that I went to, and it sounds like this is an even deeper dive experience. So yeah.
Yeah.
And Matthew is a sweet soul. You just, if you don't know, you gotta know. You gotta connect with Matthew. Yeah, it's word of mouth Unite platform. Yeah. So if you email him, I think his email is thesteepingtea@gmail.com. T as in TEA. Thesteepingtea@gmail.com, or just find Matthew Learning on social and he will connect you.
Or connect with us if you can't find any of that, and we will connect you with him. So yeah, we're always excited to connect people. I love that idea, Seven, about doing a touch show. So we'll look into that. We want to do
Unite Tantra.
We want to do mental health hacks where we talk to people about things like nail art and other things that help them get in the zone and in flow state. And really that amazing reminder that this woman is a banker and has a very successful career. And she got into the nail art during COVID because she was lonely and bored and missed her creative outlets. And her mom was a little skeptical and kind of like, oh, you're spending too much time and money. And when she started being able to pay her rent, her mom was like, oh, okay. So that kind of reminder that our soul knows, and those things that we think are just silly or waste of time or not productive. And so many, that's what Alan said, like go dancing in the early career, you wouldn't kind of see how, without seeing all the pieces, how that could be supportive later in life. And it really is just that trust piece. And I think Seven brought that up, of kind of how to kind of know when you're on a track or on course, and what if people don't have the tools, and if you feel like you don't know all the different things that could be helping you. And I think that trust piece, we can always tap into ourselves, just what feels good in the moment, what feels better, what feels inspiring. And even if it feels silly or frivolous, or just if it brings you joy, you don't know how it's going to help you in the future. So do it, find a way to do it and do more of it. And there's endless stories about people turning their little passions into their next careers, and or really, really helping what they're doing right now. So yeah, I think that's the kind of, I used to feel like I had to be a specialist to be of value and have a single focus. And I always had struggled with that, because I love being like my dad, I have always a million projects on the go, and I love being a part of everything. And sometimes I beat myself up because I think I'm not a specialist, and I have dreams actually where I can like sing like amazing or dance like I can just, I just burst into song or dance, and it's just like the most effortless, or I can fly often, which is amazing too. But I'm just like, I'm the best at it that anyone is. And I feel so like, oh, look, I can do this thing. And so grateful that I get to experience that, because in this lifetime, I'm not choosing to have a single focus. I get to really have all these different ones.
She's on a break lifetime. She was like big king in the last one, lots of drama. She's taking a rest.
I am not. This life is way harder. But that kind of piece of thinking that you have to focus and pick one thing and be really only focusing on that. I feel like that's a piece where I'd love to hear more messaging about that, your side hustles and your projects and your crafty things and those things that really just bring you joy, those have in fact often more value than sometimes the thing that you think you should be doing, because it is lighting up your life, which is then lighting up other people's. So keep sparking your light, everyone. Keep lighting each other up. Keep growing together. And we love people laugh when we introduce ourselves, especially at we went to a quite mainstream women's networking event yesterday in Seattle, and we're like, Shine Crystal, and they're like, Shine Crystal, really? And we're like, yeah. And when we explain that Shine does an amazing job of pulling in the light, and like a crystal, I do a lovely job of focusing it, and really that is what we love to do. So you guys, anytime we can shine a little light your way and help you focus your light, please do reach out to us. It really is such a joy to us. And I feel like I get moments of overwhelm where I'm like, I want to support every single person in the world. And how am I going to do that? I'm one person. And then I remember that the ripples go out, and one call like this where there's 15 of us and we all juice each other up, and then you all go off, and we're sending Alan out into that big huge event, he's going to juice up a whole bunch of people. So I feel like in that respect, and who knows what all the rest of you guys are going to do in the next couple of years.
Juice factory.
He's a juice factory.
I love his energy. It's so fun.
Just like a sprinkler.
I love people like that who are just like, they're just out there doing their thing, not really caring what people think, just doing it. Yeah. I love that.
Yeah. So remember that you, just being you, shining your light is amazing. All of you on the call, everyone who's tuning into the recording, please continue to reach out, ask for support. We're here, and everyone in our community is just this is what lights us up, is lighting up each other. So reach out. You're not alone. We got this, everyone. Thank you for tuning in. We're excited to see you next week when we get to meet our presenters for our upcoming live event. And
Juice, join us in creating excitement. What? Blowing my mind. That's amazing. Oh, I love it. Coming up to the thing. And one quick ask for Unite. Two things. One, if you want to create a love stream, if you want to ever go live, we will help you promote it. We'll try and get as many people there as possible. We'll do the same thing we do with the Unite show, where we invite people on Facebook and do a whole thing. Yeah. So if you ever, or if you're already doing stuff and you want to just, instead of doing it on Zoom, you can do it on Unite. It's the same exact thing. It just means you get a little extra promo. Yeah. So please reach out to us. We want to facilitate. Eventually, we want to have the love stream be full, so that 24/7 there's multiple things happening every moment. And you can just tune in anytime and find these cool things like this that are just happening. Yeah. And then number 2 is we're looking for amazing aligned investors. It can be big amounts, small amounts, and people who really want to see this happen and want to support our amazing tech team who are doing lots of work right now for free, and just we're loving them so much. They're just willing to kind of take the ride with us and make sure everything keeps working, so super helpful to have obviously the finances in there, and of course it's coming, but in case this is one of the avenues that it could come through, or we're super excited to connect. And we had a great chat with someone who yesterday, she owns she's the owner of the Seattle Kraken, and she's one of 3 female like chair people of a NHL franchise. It's super cool, and she runs an investment firm and all this other stuff. So we're excited to chat more with her, and we had some great connections. So yeah, that's super exciting. And we love you all.
And we are back in live events. So if you know anyone in Vancouver who's a healer, who has wellness offerings, we are doing our amazing speed healing event at our events. So it's basically speed dating with healers. So you get to try a bunch of awesome modalities for free. So you have little like 10-minute mini healing sessions, and it becomes just the best ever way to explore and experience a whole bunch of different modalities. If you're in another country like Italy and want to start your own speed healing event, let us know and we will tell you about it, because it's the best ever and it's so cool.
And we want to do online ones too. And we can do breakout rooms in Zoom and do speed healing.
Exactly. Yeah. So that's our definite next goal, is to get it online as well. But for now, we are looking for vendors and healers in Vancouver who want to come live in person and be part of our events. So please do send your peeps our way as well. And we'd love to showcase them, show them off. Everyone gets all kinds of fun promos. So
and one more, we're looking for sponsors for the event and for the show.
Yeah.
So if anyone wants to be a sponsor and we can give them a shout out, and they can come on and share.
Yeah.
And at our events, we've got some really cool potential sponsors for our next.
When is your next event with the speed healing? When is it?
April 9th.
April 9th. And our next in-person event. We have yet to get an online one going, but I really think we're going to, that's going to be the next piece for sure.
See all events. So Night Journeys. So this is, this is Parangi. This is going to be May 23rd. So amazing, such a beautiful soul. This is going to be epic. We rented a room that can fit 740 people, and it's going to be next level.
And they're doing a whole tour. So we're actually only one of 2 Canadian tour dates. All the rest are in the States. So
just go to parangi.com. It's pronounced pour, like pour tea, on, and then ghee. Like clarify better. Parangi.
So that's going to be the evening portion, and then the afternoon for that event we are doing speed healing as well. And then this is our April 9th event. So our Spring into Abundance Unite Journeys event, our amazing team.
This is next week's Unite show is going to be with these characters here.
Exactly. So you'll be getting to meet them.
They're so sweet. It's going to be great. And we're hoping for Matthew Cosell to do our sound bath, or someone amazing. And we've got an amazing crew of people that is just, it's going to be like, the last one was so epic.
And please do connect us too, if you know any amazing presenters, artists, musicians, people with workshops who are coming through Vancouver and want support in hosting. We love partnering with people, and we get to bring them in and we do the hosting work, and we incorporate our community, and then they just get to do their magic. So please do send them our way as well.
Especially like musicians with a following that want to come to Vancouver but don't have the ability to just sell a show on their own. We're loving working with Parangi on that, and it's such an easy thing for us, and it's so mutually beneficial. So
Yay!
Wow, thanks for listening to all of our asks. That started out as 1 and it was like 15.
Yes.
Love it. I love you all. This was great.
We love and appreciate all of you. Keep shining. Till next week. Aw, thank you, everyone.
Hearts and love. See you soon.
Aw. Thank you, everyone.
And seriously, do reach out. Personal, professional, whatever, we're here. We love supporting, connecting, co-creating.
Bye, everyone. Oh,
bye, beautifuls.
Thank you. That was so sweet.
So
good. That was lovely.
That was amazing. Very cool.
Wow.
Thank you. Oh my gosh. I've written so many things down here. I want there's some people in Vancouver that I think but I want to connect them with some of your events. And then I'm also getting a special place for my Kathleen Recommends page to get you guys on it. So more people can come to Unite. So it's just a matter of like finishing that. So I just really want more and more people to come to your app and connect with the community, because I just love what you're doing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. And we don't have it yet, but we're going to build in something that works like an automatic affiliate thing, where as if you recommend someone, or if someone buys something through a review you left or a post you made, then it'll just like automatically, you'll get a payout or Unite credits, something fun that says thank you, and it's going to be all like integrated. It's not there yet, but it will be.
Very cool. Yeah. Sharing the love, right? Like a love bump or a love hug or something, right?
Exactly. And it's what we would do anyway, all of us, but then especially if it's going to be, kind of credit on the platform, then it's like, oh, just for sharing, now I can go get like a free massage or a free reading from someone that I wouldn't normally treat myself to, but now I can because I've just been doing what I do anyway.
We have an events calendar on Unite, and we should integrate conscious calendars on there in some way. And then it's like, if people want to learn more, they can buy it for themselves, but there's like a little something like that where we can integrate.
We can totally do that, because now what we're doing is we've created it so that there's actually a dedicated Google Cal that's what's generating the color of the day, because anybody can go in for free and see the color of the day. Anybody who's ever logged in. So we can get that access to you, and then people could see the color of the day for free, which then drives people to come see the color of the day.
Exactly.
And then they can link through. So we can just, because I'd love to share it with you. My idea is to share that with media outlets, but you guys can totally have it right for free. And then that just, supports everybody.
Yeah, you can drive people to your page, all that stuff.
It's really helpful for everyone. Do check it out. Red days, chill days, green days, high vibe days, yellow days. But it's just it's just a nice quick little hack, and you're like, that's a red day. I already was feeling a little heavy. Good, let's just not do taxes today. That's tomorrow's.
Right. I laugh on yellow days, because it's just like, oh, well, there's an obstacle, or oh, I forgot that, or oh my gosh, I'm doing something else, or that's a workaround, and it just keeps me laughing. Of like, of course, it's a yellow day.
What day was today?
Today's actually Mars Moon Day, so it has a little bit of an edge to it, but people have this ability to kind of be very piercing and focused on either what they want to promote, or concise questions, or push back on things. So it's great for sports. But if like people who are clients who are salespeople, they don't like to do sales things on Mars Moon days, because people push back. But in this environment, because everything's being shared with love, it's a totally different gig. You know what I mean?
What color was it?
You could say it's neutral, but it's Mars Moon. It has a little the red lightning bolt. That's Mars Moon.
Understood. All right, because lots of days don't have any color.
Right. Yeah.
Love it.
Yeah. All right. Thank you so much. Yeah, people are still on.
I know.
Where are you in the world right now?
Seattle. That's why I was just like, what? You guys were in Seattle?
What? I thought you were in Italy, in Europe. That's why we had to do it. You were trying to do it.
No. That's Cinzia. She's in.
Oh my God.
Yeah. So
you were advocating for her, because when you said we should do it at a different time, I'm like, oh, are you in Europe too? It's wild. Okay, funny.
Yeah.
We need to hang out.
So I missed you when you were in Seattle.
And vice versa. Yeah. Come up anytime.
Now we're 5 minutes from the border in White Rock, so we're really.
Oh, that's right. You are that close.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah.
We can see I can see it right now out the window.
If you want to come up for March 26th, we'll throw you a party just for you.
Oh, I was just connecting with Alan's friend. I'm actually going to be in New York on the 26th, and I'm going to connect with him.
Oh my
Amazing.
God. No.
Yeah.
With Alan?
Yeah. No, with Alan's friend, the guy's place that he was at when the Men in Black came. He's in a different location now. But
I'm out of here. What is he all about?
I have no idea. I got his number.
So funny.
Yeah. I got his number, and I'm just like, well, I'm going to be in New York. He's in New Jersey now. So I'll just connect with him on my way up.
Perfect. Yeah.
Yeah, you're
Awesome.
connecting everybody, the ripples.
That's great.
We are, yeah. I want one day, like, you know,
It'd
in
be
like
fun to see the tree.
50 years, I'd love to like send a bunch of interns to do like a historian journey and be like, okay, like where's the origin story of this connection, and go do and the origin story of this one, and oh yeah.
Amazing. Well, and just like Alan and his friend, right?
Yeah.
You
so
know,
fun.
they hadn't seen each other in what was it, 20 years?
Yeah.
That's wild.
Yeah. And then he showed up on their call.
Yeah.
So fun.
I love it. I love it. This
Thank
was
you.
perfect. This is exactly what the love stream is and will be, and the point of it. And it's just connection and good times.
Yeah, I know. And I keep thinking like I'll definitely connect with you, because if I'm just going to do a Facebook Live or something, I'll just make it a Unite love stream.
You can do
Yeah.
both.
Yeah.
Okay, great.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like
Yeah,
you can,
so-
we're live on Facebook right now.
Do you
If
have like
yeah.
I figured, but do you have like any like videos, or just a couple of like 3-liner of like, okay, so if you're going to do a Facebook Live and you want to do a love stream, here's what you do. Where is that?
You
Oh,
have a
yeah.
video, don't you?
I have a video on creating a love stream. The only way to do the Facebook Live through the Zoom is to use your Zoom account, not the Unite Love Stream account.
Okay.
So you just create a Unite Love Stream. You put your Zoom link as the link that people go to.
Yeah.
Okay.
Then when people go to Unite, there's just a button that says join. That opens your Zoom link,
Yeah.
which then you can go live. So basically it's free promotion by using the Unite thing. But also if you invite people to Unite versus your Zoom link, then there's a few things. One, they can say they're interested and it'll notify them through the app or through their thing. So that's an extra
Okay.
thing. Number two is that when you invite people to Unite, they can then see all the other things on Unite and vice versa. And so there's this exponential effect. Whereas if you're sending someone a Zoom link, there's no benefit to anyone else. Whereas
Right.
if you send someone a Unite link, which
Right.
has your Zoom thing, there's tons of benefit to lots of other people and vice versa. So I
Right.
think that's how we can kind of grow this whole thing.
If you
Like
think about
Eventbrite, but better.
Exactly. So if you think about it, like Eventbrite and Zoom are like, they're like the middle, you know, they're well,
The tools.
Zoom is the tool and Eventbrite is the tool. And what we're doing is we're putting a face on the tool, and
Mhm.
then you use, you know, Zoom or whatever on the same on the back end, but the face is Unite. And that's adding all that extra bit, but then the functionality you still have on the back end exactly the same. So it's really just adding another layer of community, another layer of support, another layer of
Yeah.
And
interface.
ripples of love. Totally.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you can sell tickets on Unite now,
Yep.
just like Eventbrite.
Yep.
And you can sell products. So you
Yeah.
could have your
Oh, I
budget
see.
calendars for sale and
Yeah.
and
Right.
it just links to where they sign up and however that works. And
Exactly. I know. I've just been meaning to get over there and do all that.
I know.
Oh, I will-
And Shine really is happy to, if it's like just feeling like, oh, I know I get that way. And I'm like, oh, I need to get to it and I need to find the email and do the thing. And I just don't have the brain for it. Shine, a lot of time, it's just really easy for him to be like, okay, let's just jump on a call and we'll walk through it together. And what is really helpful for us when we do that is we can also, he'll do a little bit like, where do you think you should go to find that? And then you're like, I think it should be here. And we're like, oh, good feedback. Maybe we'll move that button up there. So it's actually really helpful for us as well.
Okay.
So,
It's fun because it would have been fun to be at the beginning of Facebook or whatever and be like, ooh, what if we did this? What if we did that? And if like we can do that, we can build this thing
yeah.
from scratch and all co-create it together.
And
So-
integrate the pieces that we want and the pieces that are fun. And it would be so fun when you're posting your event on Unite and you're like picking the date. And when the calendar drops down for you to pick the date, right in there, you can see the red days and the green days right on the calendar just to post your event.
Well, we'll have too much competition on green days.
You would. It's true. It's true. It happens.
Everyone
right?
will want the green
Right.
days.
That's okay.
But actually the other days are really good too, like doing stuff on a red day, like a really soothing, like a
Exactly.
sound healing event or something like that on a red day is perfect.
It's really
Because
nice.
everybody's in overwhelm, in like, not everybody, but it's kind of that heavy inner day. So doing a meditation on that day, that would be a whole article of saying like planning an event, if it's like a high vibe dance party, get going, here's a green day. If it's a beautiful inner, actually, if on those days, if I had a meditation booked, I'd be like, I'm doing stuff. I don't want to stop and meditate. So you actually don't want those on those days. So yeah, it's actually to give people that little, tool if they want.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You're fun.
Yeah. Cool. Okay. Well, yeah.
Lots of things. It'll come.
Yeah, exactly.
Piano.
Piano.
Yes. We will stroll our way there.
Exactly. Yeah.
Same thing with the stadiums
Yeah.
and the centers and the towers and the whatever.
It's happening.
Galactic
Right.
Federation.
Yeah.
It's coming.
Mhm.
No rush. It's just
Yep.
flow.
It's already happening. Exactly. Yes.
We're here to enjoy the journey.
Thank
Love
you
it.
so much.
Love you. Thank you, everyone.
Kathleen.
Love you, Matt.
Yeah.
Love you, Jay. Love you, Diane. We'll see you soon.
Yes. Bye, everyone.
Good night.